good. That's why. We don't hold federal income.
Oh.
We don't hold, the city doesn't hold federal income tax for this. Go down, I'm like, why? I'm like, oh.
What's $20,000? I like that.
You can just leave it up. I'll hide behind it. Thank you, ma'am.
Call to order Minneola City Council. If all raise, if all stand for a moment. Vice Mayor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Vice Mayor.
Looks
Agenda.
good, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Good. Scott, we good?
One small change and then a comment, or sort of breaking news sort of thing. The one is the order of the Shepherd's Landing items 7, 8, and 9 are tweaked a little bit. What we traditionally do and what's proper is to do the annexation first, then the development agreement, and then the comp plan amendment, given that the rezoning and DA are both contingent on the comp plan amendment. So we'll just vote on them in that way, but we always discuss them. I assume you'd still want to discuss them all together at the same time anyway, so it really doesn't change anything significantly. The second thing is, I think you received an email that we received today some proposed changes to the development agreement from the applicant. What we're proposing to do tonight is Eric will give the presentation on the development agreement as the one that was in your packet, the most recent version that we had, and then I believe the applicant wants to respond with the areas that they are suggesting to change, and then we will take it from there. My preference, frankly, would be to table any final consideration until we can actually read the suggested changes and tweak any language. The applicant has requested that could we take action contingent on attorney review and bring it back, but I will get to that when we get to it, but just so you're aware, there are suggested changes. Rather than belaboring it, we'll just let the applicant go through those tonight and let you know the areas they wanted to change, so, okay?
Okay. With that said, we don't need to make a motion for the redirection of them. Okay. Public comment. If there's anybody that wants to speak on anything at this time, please come forth.
Is it legislative corner with Cheryl?
It might be, but first of all, thank you, City Council members, for being here. Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. First, I want to compliment the City of Minneola. The state graduation rate is 92%. Lake County Schools was 94%. Lake Minneola High School was 99% graduation rate. That's outstanding, so I just wanted to bring that forth. Yes, I do have a few legislative updates.
All right.
Some of the bills have passed the House, like some that I was really interested in, but unfortunately, they don't have a Senate companion bill, so we'll see what happens. However, I wanted to bring to your attention the CSHB 299. It's entitled, it doesn't have a name yet, but it's called Blue Ribbon Projects. It's worse than Live Local Act because it's a comprehensive, once it's approved, it actually sounds like you're building Epcot with this project, but once it's approved by the state, local governments in the county and city, they cannot make any changes to it or deny anything. And so it may start out to what you want it to be, and we all say, yes, that's great for this community, but then the developer decides, oh, I don't want to put that much in, I want to put in more high-density housing, I don't want to have that much green area space, and we've heard enough from our citizens that they want green area spaces. So I urge you to really look at 299, and Scott, all I can say is there's stuff in there that I don't understand. I have to be a legal attorney to understand that, so.
Who
hoping
sponsored
you'll
that
look
bill,
at
Sharon?
CS/HB 299.
Yeah, who sponsored it, or who brought it up?
Mello, she's from South, it's a Republican.
What's the name?
House of Rep. MELO, I think, Milo?
Milo?
Milo, yeah, okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time?
We're gonna talk about moles today, Banks, because I still have those hills in my yard.
Farmer Banks Helfrich. I live in the Clay Road District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day, there are two types of crops, perennials and annuals. The perennials will go year after year, and you do not have to replant them. Annuals, we have to replant them every single season. And did you know that eggplants and peppers are perennials? So you plant them once, and you get about 4 or 5 years out of them. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, I have brought a bucket today because 200 years ago, roughly 200 years ago, every single one of us carried around a bucket with us. We carried it around because we were all firefighters. We all put out each other's fires. Not metaphorically, we actually did put out fires. Today, up in Tallahassee, they are talking about eliminating property taxes. Property taxes fund not only firefighters, they also fund police, parks, libraries, roads, and education. So let's take a look at what are the options that are on the table. And I just know a few of them, and there's a lot of them that are out there. One is to eliminate property taxes for people over 65. Another one is to eliminate property taxes for those who have lived in their house for at least 10 years. Another one is to freeze, and this is not an elimination of property taxes, this is just kind of curtailed. It is to when you purchase your house, you freeze the property taxes on that. It only goes up 1% to 3% per year, depending on inflation, and it always comes back to that same price. Another one is, which I'm kind of in favor of, and that is to expand the, or to extend to $250,000 the homestead exemption. And this is pretty good across the board. Now, if we eliminate property taxes or even curtail it, we have to find the fund somewhere, or we're all going to be carrying around a bucket with us. So where are the options? One of them is to put tolls only for non-Florida residents on the roads, to eliminate the tolls for Florida residents, and that's about $650 a year that you can save there. Another one is to increase the consumption tax, and the fourth one is to It escapes me. However, 9 out of 10 of us in this room here do not like to pay taxes. However, 10 out of 10 of us like the benefits for which the taxes fund. So I always go back to my mother, and she always would say, you pay for what you get. So right now, at Tractor Supply, these buckets are $4.99 for one, or 2 for $8. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Banks, you promised me tips on how to get rid of these moles.
Sing to them.
Sorry, what was it?
Sing to them.
Oh,
Sing to them.
you're more than welcome to come to my house, Banks, and sing to them.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Thomas Racco, 580 Blackstone Street, Minneola, Florida.
Evening.
I've been away for a little bit, but I've been following Minneola news, and my question is one that I see with a lot of confusion from the local residents, and that is Sunterra Properties, Walmart, and Sam's Club. I watched Mr. Jermaine's video, and it makes it appear as if that is a done deal. I'd like to know if in fact it is a done deal. If not, what steps are required for approval, because there's a meeting, technically a meeting, but let's call it what it is. It's a meet and greet that Sonterra and Mr. Jermaine are hosting to try to appease the residents. I have a lot of concerns as some other residents, but I'd like to know what still needs to be approved, if so, if that project's moving forward.
Scott, do you want to answer this, please?
Yeah, well, essentially, everything would need to be approved. Nothing has been approved yet. They have applied, and that's about as far as it's gone. Before it's even moving through planning and zoning and council and all of those things, they are holding this community meeting. It is not, as we've said before, a city meeting. We are not hosting this. We are just, because it's of such importance and interest to the community, City Hall was a good central place that people are familiar with to have it. Unfortunately, that seems to have brought with it the connotation that somehow the city is promoting the meeting, but it's not a city meeting. So that is, and as you said, it seems to be more of a meet and greet that's happening
I
this
understand it
Thursday.
wholeheartedly. Perhaps someone should remind Mr. Jermaine that it has not been approved, because he's presenting it as such, and it really is making residents think that they don't have a say and this is a done deal. He's misrepresenting himself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, the audience? Okay, project updates.
Yep, we'll get started. So I think Minneola Library, the only thing outstanding is the flagpole.
As far as I know, I think it's all done. We're gonna change out some poles, or some posts, but that's about it.
Has been ordered. Okay, cool. City Hall Fire Station, that's closed out. Grassy Lake Road striping, widening, and stop signs.
Fred? Also, our fire chief's here if you want to talk about the design of the second station there in process. We just got a new revision last week.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Fred?
So the update for Grassy Lake and Education Avenue, we had some issues with the stormwater for both Grassy Lake and Education. So with St. John's and the HOA, that's been resolved on Grassy Lake Road. So the issue on Grassy Lake Road now, we're waiting on the Lake County to get back with us on the cost sharing agreement. So Grassy Lake piece is done. So with the stormwater on Education Avenue, we're meeting with the HOA on Wednesday to finalize that piece. The project has been awarded.
Which, can I ask which HOA?
Ardmore.
Okay, thank you. Just want to clarify.
So the project's been awarded, and those two issues we're trying to work through and issue the notice to proceed. So we're still on track to start first quarter, finish by summertime.
First quarter of this year.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you, Fred.
I'll just hang out here for a minute.
Yeah, when I hear that's fine. Next we'll have the fire station in the hills.
Chief?
Sorry, Fred, you have to share the mic.
Let's go.
Good evening, Daniel DeBasey, Fire Chief. So we had received the 30% rendering schematic. We met on it internally. There were some things that, as an internal team, meeting with Mark, we kind of wanted to see some changes. There were some cost savings in there that we found that there were some places where we could cut some costs. So we met back with the architect. We had them, basically, we went through a laundry list of things that we wanted to see, and then they just resubmitted a new 30% on Friday. That was shared. It was late in the day, and we've yet to meet internally on that. We're going to try to put something together this week, early next week, to discuss the new proposal and what that looks like for the fire station. But other than that, the architect's design's fully underway, and we've been in regular contact with them, and that's going as expected.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Dan, will they be making a presentation to the council when they've got the design worked out?
Yes, there will be a presentation. That's it. That was in the original scope, and in the contract they are going to present, but we want to make sure that we get it to a point where once we get everything ironed out to get that presentation to that. We're not to that point yet.
Are you involved in any of the meetings this time, Joe?
I haven't been, no.
Can you meet with him on the side?
I'm sorry?
Can you get some feedback from Councilman Saunders? Can you show him kind of what you have? at some
Yes,
point?
sir, we can get with Mark and,
Okay. Do you mind looking at it, Joe?
I don't mind.
You did a good job on the first one. So, okay, thank you.
The latest revision we got last week incorporated the design elements required in the hills. So the facades changed up quite a bit. And also some cost savings were changes for that. But we can get it to you.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Mark, next is the speed monitoring project for Oak Valley Boulevard. I think this was completed, or we still have pending items?
That's completed. The speed, the radar signs are up and the speed humps are in, so that's done.
All right, next is the widening for Hancock between Turnpike and 561A. I know it's a county project, but do we have any updates on that?
You got anything on that?
What was that project again?
Hancock, the widening of Hancock?
Yeah, Hancock is completed, right? They, December, I think it was December 5th, they did.
The widening.
The widening.
Widening of Hancock?
Yeah, from Turnpike to 561A.
From 2 lanes to 4 lanes.
They're,
Dr. Citrus Grove?
No, in front of Crooked Can.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So Mark can speak to that, because it was an issue with the tunnel and the whole 9 yards, so we're still on standby. That was resolved, and so we're moving forward. The county's wiped that plan off the table, so we're back to the 4 lane, and so they're still in review.
So the tunnels are no longer in play?
they're going to do an enhanced crosswalk to trying to balance all the needs and wants of everyone. And this is something that the property owner, the property owners in that area that we're going to have to give up right away for those facilities, they were more agreeable to enhanced crosswalk and decorative intersection that they're going to make it nice. They're going to make it real nice.
What was the reason why those tunnels were descoped?
ADA issues with the amount of land and the sloping will make it ADA would lose a lot of the frontage piece, so they're having to redesign that piece.
Okay.
It was in a
Topography,
right.
This ADA slope is a long way, and
Okay.
so.
They got into the engineering of it and saw it maybe they needed to rethink it, so.
Wastewater treatment plant?
So we had a progress meeting today, actually, and everything's rolling forward. We're looking for 75% plans next week. And so to that point, once we get the 75% plans, I think we're on hold until we get on board with the CMAR, because there's no sense in moving beyond the 75% plans if the CMAR is not in place to make those final adjustments. So we don't want to prematurely design something that we would have to change. So we expect the 75% plans next week.
Okay, excellent. That's done.
We're also engaging in, discussions on funding. We have a group that's going to help us work with SRF, and there may be some options for forgivable loan, which is good. And so we're kind of exploring those options as we speak, as it's under design.
Okay.
Any grants in process for supporting that?
We're looking into those. We also have a legislative request in. The forgivable portion of the loan would be, ideal if we can obtain that, but we have a group that's out looking for some of those things for us. Right now, they're doing it at no cost. I'm sure there'll be, once they get into it a little further, there'll be some cost to it.
All right, next one is the waste contract for waste management.
So I met with, our old representative is now back, and the other person was transferred back to the Tampa area. So now we're working with Skip again. We did have a meeting on some terms. I asked them to look at getting rid of the fully automated and going back to semi-automated rear loader. So they went to take that to their group, and they're going to come back But we're trying to, see what they have to offer in terms of, no equipment and that sort of thing. And we'll bring it for y'all to decide to choose that route or go back out.
Right, but this was more for the renewal contract. I know that we wanted to work on it this year. Did we make any progress on that? Didn't we assign that to someone to work on it on council?
Or Debbie was going to look at it, but I think it's the new year starting, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
So no,
No, we hadn't started revising the contract bid yet, but we're working on revising the current contract to see what y'all think of it before we go out for bid. You may like the terms and maybe you won't, we'll go out for bid, so,
we do expect an increase overall, correct?
absolutely. Yeah, that's coming no matter what.
Are we gonna have to push that cost down to the residents?
Yes, it'll be more than what we charge right now.
Are we gonna have the same level of service? Your opinion?
I hope better. So, we talked about customer service being brought back to Florida and things of that nature.
Right, let me rephrase the question. Do we still expect to have 2 garbage pickups and a recycling?
Oh, yes. We workshopped that when we entered into this agreement. The public was pretty vocal about maintaining their twice-a-week pickup, so.
But they did, when we did it last time, just for your knowledge, is they came back with a kind of this is what it is, but there was options if you did choose to go other ways, just so you could kind of, so the audience or the residents could say, well, we'll do, they could decide, but everybody went with the 2-in-1. But those numbers were shown.
Okay.
Because if I remember correctly, it wasn't $10 for one day and $20 for 2. It was incremental. Like it wasn't, yeah. So you just have to see it, but it wasn't that bad of the 2-to-1. It wasn't a huge savings. So
right. All right.
Just to set it your expectations. It's not like it cuts it in half.
Sure.
I remember during that workshop, some of the public came up and said, hey, we want to maintain our twice a week. We're willing to pay for it. They were pretty strongly in favor of maintaining that.
Next is the Trailhead Park contract. I know it was signed, and it was the secondary part that was missigned and submitted already?
It's taken care of.
Okay. All right, so I did give you those 2 dates, Mark, to have the community workshops.
You were going to check
I need to
and
get
get
back
back
to
with
you.
me
Yeah.
if they were able to meet, the contractor was able to meet those dates or not.
Okay, but we had that tentative scheduled?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what else?
Can we talk about the restrooms there?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Mark, I know you said the insurance was covering the restroom. Is there a timeline for that? Is it on their queue, or are they going to be looking at it sometime this year, or is it,
For which project?
it's not our project, but replacing the restrooms at Trailhead?
Oh, we have met with them. We're going to bring you back something at the next meeting to make it official. I've already kind of authorized the route we're going, consensus, but we're going to do the turnkey program they have available. They think once we've already told them to get started on it. They're thinking about 6 months from start to finish.
Are we going to have that ready in line with the parks when that's completed in time for the 100-year anniversary?
Most certainly should be able to, yes, sir. Probably ahead of it.
Perfect. Landscaping, that's complete?
That's complete, you can, yeah.
Memorial Wall.
The granite will be in March, and I will be meeting with Chief and Lieutenant Bill and with Mark to finalize the emblems, because we have to make sure that the emblems are respected on both fields.
Can I ask a question about that one,
Sure.
Pam, if you don't mind? You're doing, is it just law enforcement, or are you doing military there too?
Veterans and first responders.
You including Coast Guard?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yep.
Space Force as
Space
well?
Force, that's my
Yep,
question.
absolutely.
Space Force.
And
Planning ahead.
before we even move forward with the actual ordering, I will present them to you guys.
I was just curious.
No worries.
I didn't even think of Space Force. That was kind of new to me,
Yes, it is part of it, yeah.
because you're on Team Tesla.
Well, let's boldly go where no one's gone before. Splash pad. At the library.
Splash pad at the library. We have worked with a design engineer with Chris Germana to lay it out. We're looking into a continuing contract, services contract for these types of things. We can move them along faster. And so we're working out those details. Chris alone won't be able to do it. He'll be able to do the design as far as the site plan of it, but he'll need another company to come in and figure out the plumbing and, you know, the type of facility and everything. So we're looking at partners for him for that.
Next is the pier on Lake Minneola.
On that, we have not started, but we are working with our planning firm to design a site plan for that park, and then once that's done, we can get the pier in.
Shouldn't you go ahead and get the permitting, though? Permitting takes a while from St. John's, so.
We could try to start it. I think they're gonna need a full design before they'll permit it, though, but we can see what they'll say.
I mean, it's a pier, I'm not sure what that, can't you just call Peter's Piers and tell them you need a pier there and then build it? They seem to throw them out on the houses on Lake Shore all the time.
You could, do you want it, do you want it to line up with the crosswalk? Do you want it towards the middle? All that stuff has to be fleshed out in the
You
site
told us
plan.
that there was some options where we couldn't put it. We were kind of voluntold where we were gonna have to put it.
What's that?
I thought you told us where we could and couldn't put it.
Yeah, ideally it'd be lined up with the crosswalk, but I don't know that's everybody's plan for it. Some of them want it like in the center. Some of it want it shifted to one side.
Define everybody, like everybody in these 5 seats.
I mean, but if if it's something that has to be done that way, then,
It's Pam's project. I mean,
Yeah.
have her put the pier where she wants to put the pier.
Or we can go with what will fast track it the best.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just get the pier in.
I have a chainsaw, Mark. I could go cut some trees that they're cutting down by my house and put it in. I wouldn't recommend standing on it, but it'll be in. The last one here is the Overlook Park over in the hills. We're gonna start re-engaging social media team, and Allison's ASA in order to start revisioning and start bringing them back up. My goal is to have that under for an RFP by the end of summer.
Okay, and that's the Overlook Park, or is that the park in the whole?
Both.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry, misread.
thank you. That would be the Hills Park.
The Hills Park. Overlook is a passive, we're not doing much to that. We'll have some build out, but very minimal.
Yeah.
This will be for what we are calling the whole.
Maybe we should give it
Proper name?
a more respective name than the hole in the ground.
The
old
hole in the
school
ground with
site.
sand? Sandy hole? Pit?
Pit? No.
You got the Hills of Minneola and the Hole of
What do you
Minneola.
want, suggestions? Or
It's not gonna be a hole when it's done.
I do think, he does have a good point, though. You did anything about naming the park. If you're gonna name the park, come up with a park name or something.
Or a temporary name.
Yeah, temporary name anyways.
Project Xanadu, there we go.
So that's fine.
All right, cool.
Xanadu.
Xanadu.
Xanadu? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're calling the other one Overlook because it overlooks Lake Apopka.
They kind of just naturally
Naturally became Overlook.
overlook. That would be more like the Overlook at the Hills of Minneola. I don't know, but there is a naming convention we probably need to come up with.
We'll come up with names.
It's fine.
That's it. Council, any other projects, questions, concerns?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
Thank you, Fred.
Okay, consent agenda. If there's anybody in the audience have any comments about what's on the consent agenda, please come forth at this time. If not, please bring it back to council for a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
First and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, now for the main event, Shepherd's Landing.
Yes, as mentioned earlier, we'll do these item 8, 9, and 7, but we'll discuss these as one unless you object. Ordinance 2025-14 on second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, amending the boundaries of the City of Minneola in accordance with the procedure set forth in Section 171.044 Florida statutes to include within the city limits approximately 194.14 acres of property generally located north and south of Sullivan Road and east and west of Scrub J Lane in Lake County, Florida. Rezoning the annexed property from Lake County Planned Urban Development, PUD, to City of Minneola Planned Unit Development, PUD, rezoning property currently in the City of Minneola from Business District B1 and Planned Unit Development, PUD, to Planned Unit Development, PUD, providing for conditions and contingencies, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. Resolution 2025-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, approving the Shepherd's Landing Planned Unit Development Agreement, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And ordinance 2025-13 on second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment, amending the land use designation from rural on the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and commercial and Harb Minneola Ridge mixed-use residential development on the City of Minneola's future land use map to mixed-use development on the future land use map of the City of Minneola's comprehensive plan for 259.2907 acres of property generally located north and south of Sullivan Road and east and west of Scrub J Lane. Amending the future land use element of the City of Minneola to add a new future land use designation of Shepherd's Landing mixed-use residential development, providing for conditions and contingencies, directing the city clerk to transmit the amendment to the appropriate governmental agencies pursuant to Chapter 163 Florida statutes, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is a quasi, at least in part, a quasi-judicial proceeding and a public hearing. So if I could please, anybody that may wish to speak on this, if you could please raise your right hand, and do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Eric Rosh, here in my capacity as a contract planner to the city. I've got the next cases for you, items 7, 8, and 9. As Scott mentioned, these are the annexation, comp plan amendments, PUD rezoning, and development agreement for Shepherd's Landing. I'll run through the location of the subject property. I'll talk about the existing, future land use, and current zoning on the property. And then I'll just outline the requests as referenced. I'll talk through some of the outstanding issues and deviations from city code. I'll walk through the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations that we heard previously last month. I'll talk about the state comments, of which there were none. And then I'll talk about some additional revisions, as Scott mentioned, were provided today by the applicant. And I'll certainly turn it over to the applicant to explain that. So this property is located south of the Turnpike and north of Citrus Grove Road. It's bisected by Sullivan and Scrub J, and it's roughly 261 acres in size. You can see it outlined on the screen. So you're going to be south of Minneola Ridge, just north of Founders Ridge, and you're going to be just west of the Hills industrial area. As mentioned, it's got a rural designation for about 194 of those acres that are proposed to be annexed into the city. And then on the east side, there's about 59 acres of commercial on the city's future land use map. They're requesting a change to mixed-use residential development Shepherd's Landing with a text amendment to solidify that development program directly in the city's comprehensive plan. It's currently zoned PUD within Lake County on the west side, and then B1 on the east side within the city. And then there's a small portion, you can see it adjacent to the turnpike, kind of on the northwest side there. It's a remnant piece. It was originally in Minneola Ridge, but it was not included in Minneola Ridge when it came back for the approval in the last year or so. Just about 7 acres, pretty much unusable lake bottom. So the request here is to annex the 194 acres in from Lake County into the city. As mentioned, we have the comprehensive plan text amendment and future land use map amendment to solidify the development program directly within the city's comp plan. And then there's a PUD rezoning and development agreement, which is really going to have, those documents are really going to have all the details of the design standards and development criteria for the site. The development program proposed is 652 single-family detached units, 443 single-family attached units, just over 47,000 square feet of commercial, There's a 10-acre public utility tract, which you can see on the screen in blue, and then just over 25 acres of open and green space. If you look at the concept plan on the screen, the lighter orange colors where you're going to find the detached single-family units. The darker orange is proposed for those attached townhome units. And then the intersection of Scrub J and Sullivan, where you see the red, that's the proposed commercial area for the 47,044 square feet of non-residential. They have provided a text amendment to the comprehensive plan. This is how these have historically been processed within the city. So when you identify this mixed-use residential development designation on the map, the state likes us to put some standards in there to ensure that the maximum density and intensity is capped. So that's why you see this table. That was what was done for Minneola Ridge. That's what's being proposed here for this project. These are the properties that are proposed to be annexed under item 8. There's 4 properties, 4 parcels, 194 acres. You can see basically it's everything on the west side of the site with the exception of the property that's already within Minneola Ridge on the north. The PUD rezoning, I'll note that it's an increase in the residential development program and a decrease in the commercial program. They're proposing a gross density of 4.2 dwelling units per acre, and they're proposing to cluster that density of up to 10 dwelling units per acre for the townhome units. We've got a minimum 40-foot single-family lot width for the detached units. That's consistent with what was approved at Minneola Ridge, and they've also got a 20-foot minimum townhome lot width. That's a change from the last time you saw this. They were proposing 14-foot townhomes, and they've amended that to go up to the 20. You can see the difference between the approved and proposed. So for the most part, you're adding a lot of residential units and removing a lot of the city non-residential square footage that's approved on the map today. The development agreement outlines all of the policies applicable to the development, and there's specific development standards and a concept plan with some exhibits in there. The city attorney's office provided a red line on January 8th, and that's kind of the basis for these comments. This is a little bit different than what you saw last time. So here are those changes just outlined in bullet form. They clarified that the applicants could be responsible for removing any wastewater facilities not transferred to the city. That's if they construct a private package plant to accommodate the wastewater for the site. They added disclosure language on the city wastewater plant to let buyers know that it's there. They clarified that the project may be phased and each phase may meet concurrency, must meet concurrency in public facilities as the phases come in. They added language to allow for the city to maintain public facilities if the HOA or the other entities fail, and it allows the city to recover costs. Doesn't require the city to do it, but allows for the city to do that. Clarified the owner will be responsible for all right-of-way maintenance unless otherwise agreed to by Lake County or the city. And they clarified that on-street parking shall be limited to one side of the street unless approved at the preliminary subdivision phase, which of course would have to come back in front of this council for approval. They clarified roads will be designed consistent with Florida Green Book. They added responsibility for the owner to design and construct a roundabout at Sullivan and Scrub J, subject to city and council approval. They added language on interconnections with Founders Ridge. You may recall that was a conversation that we had last time, how Founders Ridge had about 6 connections and this project was showing 2, so there's some language in the agreement that addresses that. They clarified that street lighting must be installed prior to vertical CO and will be dark sky compliant per phase. They added language for an enhanced 50-foot buffer on the west side of the project adjacent to single-family, rural, and ag uses. They added references to a conceptual grading plan, which I'll show you in a moment. And they added language regarding the 10-acre public facility tract. So just running through, the staff comments and kind of deviations from code. We had no outstanding comments on the annexation. And so that was cleared back in October in terms of staff review. There are a few things that we wanted to point out on the PUD. Utilities, we're really looking to them for the capacity information to serve the development. They are deviating from the city's open space definition, similar to what was proposed in Minneola Ridge and approved in Minneola Ridge. They are revising the development standards for residential and commercial uses. For example, they have front-loaded townhomes, which are prohibited by code. Typically, those are supposed to be rear-loaded. They are proposing a list of by right special exceptions. So those types of uses would be able to move through the process without having a separate hearing to address compatibility concerns with additional detail. And we are awaiting responses from a couple outstanding divisions. We did receive comments from Lake County at 5:15 today, which we are still in the process of digesting. In terms of the PUD rezoning, engineering did have a couple comments on that. One was the parking for the neighborhood parks, which the applicant has addressed through some language in the agreement that requires them to provide that parking for the larger neighborhood recreational facilities, such as, you know, a clubhouse or a pool or that type of amenity. We talked about on-street parking, and there is some language now in the agreement that really addresses that concern. And then, you know, there was a comment about space for underground utilities. So Public Works has requested to review that. In terms of the development agreement, I did note that they're deviating from the city's open space definition. They've redefined what counts as open space, so that's part of their agreement. They've provided an exhibit to clarify areas where grading will exceed the city's standards. Previously, they had capped that at 20% of the buildable portion of the project. That language has been removed in favor of this exhibit, which appears to exceed 20%, and I'll show you that in just a moment. They're proposing to eliminate the parking requirements for neighborhood parks. We just spoke about that. And then deviations from the conventional development standards. Engineering had some comments. We're still awaiting their confirmation that these are resolved. These are all about grading. And then the public facility site, that's the 10-acre site that's going to be dedicated to the city. There is some additional language in the agreement proposed by the city attorney's office that governs what can happen with that site. This is the maximum grading plan as proposed by the applicant, and I'll certainly, look to the applicant to walk through the logic on this, but the areas in blue are intended to exceed the maximum grading permitted within the city's code. The areas in green would allow retaining walls up to 18 feet in height, and I believe the areas in red are retaining walls up to 10 feet in height. So that was what was provided to us for review and what's been included in the agreement from the applicant. In terms of the comp plan amendments, the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed these, and they had 4 points. One, they requested a complete land survey prior to commencement. The applicant has provided surveys associated with this request. They want a comprehensive stormwater plan to be in place, and that's really a downstream approval as we get into the water management district permitting and we get into subdivision design and site plan and things like that. That'll all be reviewed and approved by not just staff, but external agencies such as the water management district. They asked to address the staff recommendations and then update the traffic study. The applicant did update the traffic study, and our traffic sub-consultant has signed off. In terms of the annexation and PUD, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to require 25% of the property to be dedicated to the city as conservation. I'll certainly defer to the applicant if they've, evaluated that request. And then finally, the development agreement, that was also recommended for approval based on city staff comments. And then at that meeting, there was a reference to a Lake County staff report. It wasn't anything that was issued by us. Apparently 24 comments from Lake County Public Works within an annexation staff report. Again, not something issued by us that the applicant was to take a look at, and these are the items that were covered by that. Since this was a comp plan amendment, we did have to send it to the state for review. They did issue a no comments letter. Florida Commerce did that on January 8th. But right after they issued the letter, they reached out to us and requested a call to discuss. And on the call, they provided technical assistance, is what they called it, So they requested 3 additional things from staff. One is just a comparison of the development program permitted under the existing land use versus what's proposed, which we can certainly provide upon adoption. They requested confirmation from the city that capacity is available to serve the proposed development, and they requested an urban sprawl analysis to be provided. And that's something that's referenced in Florida statutes, and the applicant did provide that just this evening. I haven't had a chance to review it, but it's something that certainly we'll review as part of that package that's sent to the state. So if the future land use map's adopted, the final version will be sent back to the state for a final compliance determination. And then, we talked a little bit about the late breaking news. The applicant did submit a revised DA today, right around lunchtime. We have not had a chance to review that, but the applicant, their full team's here and they can walk through any of those changes. Just based on what was submitted today, and certainly staff will be available to review that moving forward, depending on what direction is provided by council. So that concludes my presentation. Certainly available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some questions, but I think it's to the applicant, just to understand. And Eric, you might want to just be here just in case. Can you go back to the map of the actual, had all the grading? That's how I know it, the one that had all
The red lines and green lines?
Yeah.
The walls?
the Christmas one. Okay, I got a question on this, if you can help me. On the other side of this, there's a piece of property which you're dedicating the city for public works, which theoretically would be our ribs if they were to go there. Is there any type of right-of-way across this property that the city has? How do we get there?
So, as you can see on the Matt Young, Richland Communities,
Sorry.
555 Winderley Place, Maitland, Florida. As you can see on the concept plan, there will be public right-of-way running the west boundary of our PUD adjacent to the future school site, as well as an east-west connector road at the very north part of the boundary adjacent to the park that provides public right-of-way stub-out access to that facility.
Okay, it just seems like a long way. In the part, you said you had 50-foot setbacks to rural. That was kind of part of the, I saw that there was, the property next to it is actually the school board property, but it's still classified rural. So when you look at this, is there going to be a 50-foot setback to that? Or does that 50-foot setback include the road right away, or how does that work?
No, sir. So that 50-foot setback applies to the southwest corner where we show our stormwater facility adjacent to those rural tracks there.
Okay, so that would be the ones that were the original one that was bought like 7 years ago. You just kept that one in play.
Yes, sir.
So the other one is,
Yeah, the setbacks to the school board site would be whatever the land development code
okay, that's
dictates
right, 'cause I
for
was
that
just like,
use.
that was just kind of weird because it's going to change. It's not really rural. We're not sure what it is, but okay.
Right.
The state comments, I get a question on that, Scott. If they gave you a letter of approval, then they come back and ask questions, does that mean that they can renew their letter of approval, or how does that work?
No, it was a little unorthodox.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like,
admittedly.
ooh, we missed it.
Yeah, I wasn't part of the call. There weren't any attorneys or anything like that, but
That's always good.
It's more, without getting in the weeds too much, it appears to be more information gathering and reports, less objecting to the project. Is that fair to say? I think that's, yeah.
Okay.
There was information that they liked and wanted. Some of it they'd previously requested that they didn't have, and they were just passing that along, so.
And some of that, most of that we've already compiled.
And that's
Work
fine. I
with
just thought
staff
it was
to-
kind of weird that, does it go through, then you're like, oh, well, I changed my mind. Can you ask these? I'm like,
No, the official
I have the
state
letter.
is no comment.
You have
Yeah. Yeah, these are just some staff members that called requesting the information, so, yeah.
okay. I get those. I got them fine. With that said, is there anyone here, you want to open up to the audience to speak on this, or? Oh, you can go ahead and speak your piece.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
It's just to go through, I want to just touch on one slide with everyone, if we're teed up here.
Sorry about that.
No, great questions. You were ahead of me. Maybe not, maybe we're not teed up. Do I just keep clicking right until it gets to our side? Okay.
Brad, do you have another presentation from the applicant? I think it was just a PDF. No?
All right, well, that'll make it even shorter and sweeter. I guess what I'd like to do is go back to Eric's slides then on all these recommendations, because that's pertinent to the conversation at hand. Just so council is clear, we didn't provide any perceived red line to the DA or PUD that is changing the development program or format. What happened was we provided our red line DA following our hearing, the first hearing prior to January 8th. January 8th, we received the red line from city attorney, but it was to the original DA that was submitted to the city, not our updated revised DA following our first hearing and taking your recommendations into account. So what we worked on is compiling those into one, and I'm happy to go through these on record and say basically everything we agreed to. The first 3 bullet items on this plan right here: clarification, the applicant is responsible for removing wastewater facilities, adding disclosure language for the city wastewater plant, clarifying that the project may be phased. All that was agreed to in its entirety as proposed by the city attorney. Added language to allow that the city to maintain public facilities and allow city to recover costs. One clarification to that statement was the city attorney also added in the owner. We're no longer going to be the owner at the end of this project for portions of it. So that we just cut it off right there with the HOA, POA, or CDD, but still acknowledge the language. Clarified that the owner will be responsible for all right-of-way maintenance unless otherwise agreed to by Lake County or the city. We struck that language because in reality, the roads don't get built without a roadway agreement with the county and or the city. So it's really irrelevant. Just like we did with Hancock North through Sugarloaf, we had to go negotiate that agreement with the county and come up with that maintenance program associated with that agreement. And all we're doing is asking for the same opportunity to do that here and perform for you. Clarified that on-street parking shall be limited to one side, completely approved that. Clarified the roads will be designed consistent, approved that. Added responsibility for owner to design and construct roundabout at Sullivan and Scrub J. We did strike that because, again, the intent, as I presented to you before, was to have the roundabout at the school board site on Sullivan to deter truck traffic from going west and east. However, there is going to be truck traffic going north and south on Scrub J by virtue of the fact that we were limited in our truck access out through Briar Rose with the hills of Minneola. So the truck routes are going to go north and south on Scrub J, which is why we'd rather have the transportation design dictate that in coordination with the governing jurisdiction, whoever is going to maintain those roads in perpetuity.
Is there, just so we don't go into, is there something in there that states that there'll be a roundabout at education, whatever the educational road is?
That I don't know, but we said it on record. I mean, we presented it to you guys as such, but we can certainly clarify that, and we're happy to.
Yeah, because my concern on that one is if there's not just hypothetically, when this gets built, let's just say y'all can move forward and this school sits on this property for, 20 years like they have already. Will you go ahead and, a roundabout go ahead and be built and not just be stubbed out, and it might not ever get stubbed out? Or are you waiting for the school site to build a road? That's my question.
No, so that north-south road that's on our side of the fence line. So that will ultimately carry up as secondary access up into that northern part of that subdivision, east of the school board site. So
Okay.
with that roundabout, that full north-south road will be
It's gonna be,
constructed.
you're not dependent on a school site, you're building a road there.
Right.
There'll be some type of
Correct.
access point there.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Clarified street lighting will be installed prior to vertical CO, approve that. Added language that enhanced 50-foot buffer on the west side of the project. Again, that was targeted towards the southwest corner, adjacent to single-family rural.
Can you make sure it's this, can you clarify that piece in the writing? Because when you say west, that's what made me through me, because the west side of the project is,
Well, I mean, we can leave it west, but really we're adjacent to a school site and a RIB site, so there's no single-family.
right, but it's still classified as rural. That's my concern.
Okay, we can make note of that.
Does that make, do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's classified as rural until is it really a school? Nobody's,
I got you. No, that's a good point, and we're happy to do that. The one thing where we, I think staff's recommendation on this language was that stormwater facilities could not be incorporated into that 50-foot buffer. We added that they could be incorporated into that 50-foot buffer so long as they were planted with Florida-friendly canopy trees. So that is one item I want you to be aware of. Added reference to the conceptual grading plan approved, added language to regarding the 10-acre public facility tract. This is one that probably had a little bit more meat to it from the city attorney's office. It sounds like, if I heard your public works department correctly, that they're moving forward with 75% design, which last time I was coordinating with them, incorporated this site for a RIB because we had previously provided that drawdown analysis proving its viability for that. And in doing so, we would propose just to leave language as it sits. It says the city gets the right to issue us notice that they want to use it for the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant, and we'll dedicate it accordingly.
okay, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Hypothetically, we figure out this can't be used for anything for the city, then we just get stuck maintaining this parcel. How does that work out in the long run?
Well, no, I mean, if you guys are at 75% design, theoretically, this parcel would be incorporated into it at that point. It would be part of your recharge for your treatment. So it's kind of one of those things where you're either going to develop it or you're not. I mean,
Yeah, it just that comes back to the question of that, but
well, and that's why the original language, Mayor, allowed for 2 years for the city to contemplate that.
okay.
So there was an extended time period where the city had the time to digest it, make sure they needed it, make sure they wanted it for that use. And if doing so, then we would comply.
I just, on this piece, just to better understand it, if it was to get used, and that's why I asked the question on the map, where when you said you can come up the road to education, that's a long way to run pipes compared to if it's just a straight point, but I know there's topography involved in all that. Is that the best way to run pipes?
Oh, no, you would come straight across. You wouldn't come from the north-south. So there's a road up there at the very north, straight across from the treatment plant, that runs directly west to that northeast corner of the school board site. And we would utilize that right-of-way, that public right-of-way, to install
I guess
that
I'm just
underground
ignorant and I
infrastructure.
can't, are you talking about the piece that's right in the middle?
North of the most red line.
Can you put on with the laser?
Sure. So right up here, east-west, right there.
I didn't look like that road connected all the way through. That's what I was asking.
No, that isn't a primary connection, but if we needed to provide an easement directly across there, we're happy to do that. The issue there, Mayor, is this sliver right here is turnpike, so it's not governed by the city. That was part of the acquisition for the Scrub J Bridge.
So we got to go through there first.
Well, or we could bring you down to just outside that and then cut over right here. So you're coming up and going over like that.
Y'all figure it out. I'm not an engineer. It just needs to figure out how to get, I just want to make sure that
But
we're
you're,
not.
yeah, you're
I
not
just-
going all the way down Sullivan and then all the way back up.
I just want to not make sure that we're kind of tying our hands together, like, oh, we gave it to you, but there's no way to connect to it. We
Oh,
just
no,
need, we need to make sure that we still can connect.
There's public right of way to connect.
Okay.
And sorry for the long-winded here, but I think we're closing in on the end of basically everything that your staff has.
Presentations
Okay. Sorry, let me catch up. So that was that one. No changes here. I think when it comes to the development standards, we originally had in there that billboards would be allowed subject to the city's LDC, as well as communication towers subject to city council approval. Staff had redlined that on the latest version. That was approved on Minneola Ridge. I just wanted to have it as a discussion forum with this council. If that's something that this council feels strongly against, we're happy to work with you, but I wanted to bring it forward to you guys first and hear your thoughts.
Can you go back to the map of the turnpike?
Yep. And so,
The one that had the red and the green on it?
yeah. And I hear our presentation is available now, so we actually have some color renderings, if that might help you see a little better.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out on the billboard piece exactly where billboards would go. That's,
So you just, I mean, really, you have this quadrant right here.
so essentially it'd be lighted billboards in people's backyards.
Well, we don't have to have them lighted.
Okay, that's fine. As long as it's not a Jimmy John's billboard, I guess it's okay. Okay.
But no, that was, I just wanted to be candid with you all, as I always am, and just let you know that, you know, for us, that was kind of a rinse and repeat of the approvals in the surrounding area. And if this council felt strongly about it for different reasons on this side, we're happy to listen to you and work with you.
Isn't there already a tower out there?
There's a repeater for public safety. And then there's a lattice tower over on Citrus Grove Road.
So currently, as it sits, Matt, if we want to, if you decide to put in a billboard or communications tower, it still requires council approval.
It does, per the language in the DA.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Do it, leave it as is.
Yeah. And the last thing I'm gonna do is argue with your boss about communication towers. He's probably a little bit more seasoned with them than I am, so, yeah. So we're good. I'm good with them. I'm good with as long as there's a speed bump, then I'm. fine.
Yeah, there's a speed bump in place, and
That good?
Yep, it's good.
we're happy to bring it back before council should we desire to do that in the future.
Yeah. That's fine.
Matt, did you speak a little bit about the parking for the parks? Was that redlined, or was that added?
Yeah, so we came to, we agreed again with staff's recommendation following the last hearing, where we said, similar to Minneola Ridge, we would provide for on-street parking on in-lots and maybe smaller pocket parks. But in the event that there's a clubhouse and a pool and a gathering space developed, then we would provide off-street parking fields in a traditional format that you see in the neighborhoods existing today. And correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I believe that satisfied concerns regarding parking for amenities.
And I'm just gonna ask you directly, on the pocket parking, what is your position on, is that like a deal breaker? I struggle with the pocket, I mean, I agree with it, but what I seem to be happening, that I'm seeing is, in the new areas, there are people that put parking at pocket parks, and it seems to be overflow parking for houses around there where the
Yeah,
people, where little Billy parks his car there, and that's my concern.
No, I'm okay removing, actually, the parking for those.
Yeah,
parking.
okay, I didn't know if it was something you felt strongly about. I'm not something I feel strongly about like that.
Is that something that could be discussed, Matt, that we could remove the parking for those pocket parks? Because those pocket parks are meant to be for those neighborhoods that, should walk or bike there.
Yeah,
leave
we
it
can
in there if you
absolutely
choose.
discuss it. I would just encourage council to still consider on-street parking on end caps on one side of the road because, you hit the nail on the head. Residents do use those spaces for overflow parking, and that's technically outside of the pavement width of the travel lane. So it just provides that much more security for fire and safety and everybody else to be able to pass through in an emergency by having those parallel parking spaces cut into the curb line on end caps within the right-of-way. And that's similar to what we got approved, again, in Minneola Ridge for that purpose.
And that's fine. For the on-street parking, is it in here where on-street parking will only be allowed on one side of the street?
Yes, sir, it is.
Bless you.
Bless you. And two lifts for the street?
Yes, sir. So again, we weren't, I'm sorry that it seemed to come before you all with a perceived late notice. It wasn't really a late notice. It was just a cleanup between the two versions. Our version that we had initially sent to the city and then the prior version, the city redlined and sent back to us. We were merging those. And again, on record, as I indicated, all those conditions, we were happy to meet with the outside function of just those couple adjustments I mentioned.
So one more question regarding the dark sky and the lighting. Does it show in here the temperature of the light, or is that something that we can discuss more during site plan?
That we can, happy to discuss more during site plan. Right now, the criteria is to meet dark sky lighting criteria,
Sure,
but there's no
okay.
mention of Kelvin.
Okay. There is no mention of the Kelvin.
Correct.
Okay. I just don't like yellow lights. But, all right, we'll discuss it when it comes up.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, any questions?
No, thank you.
Ms. Flynn?
Nothing against your project, Matt, not at all. But Eric, when you mentioned that you hadn't had a chance to review, and Scott, what are your takes on this point? Because I know that I rely on staff comments. If you haven't had a chance to review, I mean, what do we
Yes,
do?
no,
I don't want to get ourselves,
I literally have not, the changes that they made today, and they were actually changes, we had sent them on the 8th our desired language and hadn't heard anything back. And the change that came back slashed out whole paragraphs that we had wanted. I'm just looking at it, and I haven't had a chance to read it. It came in at noon today, and I was in meetings all afternoon. So nothing that Matt said was offensive. I mean, all that sounds workable, frankly, and you all obviously can comment as desired, but we just haven't had a chance to review it, and so wasn't comfortable recommending any kind of approval based on what we had right now.
Matt, was anything that was removed, was it anything egregious, or was everything discussed already here before
I
council?
just want to clarify before you go, this is still quasi-judicial, right? So he is under oath. Just wanted to make sure that, yeah, we're good. Go ahead, thank you.
Sure, yeah, no, the one, well, again, I think I touched on it at the beginning. The major two areas that were corrected was the public utility tract, sticking with the original language that says the city has 2 years to decide if they want to incorporate that into their wastewater expansion plant. If not, it reverts back to us under the adjacent land use. And then number two was, again, at our original hearing, from what I recall, and even as depicted on that concept plan, we always discussed a roundabout at the School Board Road, North-South, and Sullivan, and staff had injected language that required a roundabout at Scrub J and Sullivan, which is hard to dictate without controlling the right-of-way and the roadway from a city perspective. And so what we're saying is to strike that and let that be determined with the governing jurisdiction at that time, whether it's city or county, when we make that roadway agreement for those improvements.
Well, I mean,
But how does that factor into the one at the, there needs to be something on Sullivan Road to deter. And I totally agree with shifting it down originally, because I think 8 years ago or 7 years ago, when your predecessors were here, that was, we were doing something there already for a roundabout down that area, just to deter it.
well, my issue is that a lot of the residents here, unfortunately, don't even know how to drive in a roundabout now.
Yeah, but a roundabout's better. So I'm not opposed to not doing, I would rather a roundabout be on Sullivan Road farther in between Scrub J and 27 than trying to navigate, because what you've done, what we, not you, but what we did with Minneola Ridge, with their industrial piece, is limiting the traffic, will probably be flanking people down that way, and he has a good point. You're gonna put a lot of industrial traffic possibly having to navigate the roundabout, which is, if it's all cars, I feel safer than putting a truck and a car in a roundabout.
Oh, I totally agree. Like I said, I would remove that roundabout and find a different solution. I'm
And
not
at
sure
the-
that's an option as well.
And at the end of the day, we would love for you guys to take over ownership and maintenance of those roads so we could nail it down, but we need to have a little bit of flexibility to work with the county as we have in the past and try to negotiate for a different traffic control measure at that intersection, to the mayor's point, regarding truck traffic moving north-south.
Will this be a two-lane roundabout or a one-lane roundabout?
It's a one-lane.
Challenge.
No, 2 lanes. Everybody would freak out here. I don't think anybody's ready for that here.
It's okay.
Yeah, the minimum right-of-way width for Sullivan, east-west, is 50, and the minimum right-of-way width for Scrub J, north-south, and the cross-section that is part of the PUD package is 70 feet. So it would be a one-lane roundabout.
Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Sir?
I'd like to reiterate a couple of things. One is the wall,
Sir?
and as you know, and most people know, I don't like walls over 6 feet tall. You've asked for, and I guess you have in the PUD, walls that are higher than 6 feet tall,
Sir?
and not separated by in increments. They're going to be solid walls, over 6 feet tall. And I don't know how to get assurance that they won't be an eyesore or visible from the streets.
So the
And
assurance.
I don't know how you're going to do that.
Well, the assurance is in your PUD language. Bullet point state any wall facing one of the major right-of-ways, being Scrub J or Sullivan Road, shall be limited to 6-foot maximum height.
Okay, that's fine. And another thing is, this property is very close to the lake.
Sir.
Can you assure us that there's nothing on this development that's in the floodplain?
Yes, with the current layout, we'll be outside the floodplain.
Hopefully, it's high enough so that water won't go up and snatch a house or two.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna snatch the school first, though, isn't it?
And what's the county's position on a roundabout? Generally speaking, the MPO debated roundabouts for several years, many years ago. And we finally ended up with one in Astatula, a huge one. I find that people here are getting used to roundabouts. I don't particularly like roundabouts, but then again, I'm from the north where they love them up there. And part of the issue with roundabouts here is they make them so small to control the traffic that it impedes the traffic. I mean, I can understand slowing traffic, but impeding the traffic, and to that, as a reference, on Citrus Grove Road, in front of where the potential Walmart is going to be, or whatever gets developed there, there's going to be a lot of traffic with two roundabouts. And that to me is a nightmare, but nonetheless, it'll impede the traffic coming and going. And with my estimation of what's going to happen to Sullivan Road, with all the traffic coming out of at this point, not even defined commercial on the corner of 27 and Sullivan Road, and all the houses that are being built by the Scorman developers, and the commercial across the street from Sullivan Road. I don't remember the name of that street, but it's going to be a grocery store and a whole bunch of people. And I still contend that all the people coming out of the 600 or 800 homes at the Scorman development going to the Turnpike are going to use Sullivan Road. That'll leave that roundabout traffic delineator, for lack of a better word, which in some ways is good, because I'm sure the people on Sullivan Road don't want fast traffic. They want slow traffic. And Sullivan Road with the roundabout would probably accomplish that. But I don't think the county is probably big on roundabouts. And
I would, to your point, they just put one in Schofield in the last 6 months. They just added another roundabout on Schofield.
yeah, and we're going to we got one already up on Sugarloaf Mountain Road.
Yeah, we just put 2 new ones in
That's
for the county.
They're brand new, and like I say, people are going to get used to them, because there's going to be so many of them now, because we're on that kick.
And
And I guess the point I'm trying to get across is that we're going to impede traffic to the point where we're going to have a lot of people impeded.
well, I hear you.
Better way to put that. But
No, it's a good thought, and from my perspective, having multiple meetings and relationships with county staff and various commissioners over there, they actually promote roundabouts in every situation. There's unique situations such as this where, afforded the opportunity to argue a better position for maybe a signalized intersection or the like, a more traditional, I would appreciate this council's willingness to let me work on that with the county. In other situations, such as Hancock North, where it was primarily residential traffic, we didn't see an issue. But to answer your question directly, Councilman Saunders, they prefer that because it's less maintenance for a traffic signal for the county to take on in the long
Well,
run.
that's true, but that's come about over the last 20 years. They've changed their position on how they feel about that. And from my perspective, either a signalized intersection or a roundabout is going to impede traffic. That's the whole concept of what those two devices do. They slow things down.
Yeah, and to answer it another way, west of where Hancock just got extended to 455, all the way up at the very top of Sugarloaf, if you go west on that past the gates, for the northern section of Sugarloaf that is currently in review with your staff right now, the county's requesting another roundabout up there. So west of the roundabout at the gates, they're requesting another roundabout for traffic control there. So they're in favor of them.
Yeah, that just proves my point. The philosophy is now make everybody go around circles.
So can we talk Sullivan Road? If we talk the roundabout, when you come out, I'm trying to visualize Sullivan Road. What is it gonna look like? Is it gonna be like Hancock, or is it gonna be 2 lanes? Is it still gonna have a trail and a sidewalk?
Would you mind pulling up our presentation, sir?
And if you were to go with the signalized compared to a roundabout at Sullivan Road and Scrub J, is there enough room there for turn lanes? Mainly coming, I guess,
1 second. We have a couple renderings that might help
yeah, that'd be
provide this depiction for you. I'll jump through a lot of this once we're up and running. Oh. All right, so we covered a lot of that already. This again was that on-street parking adjacent to parking pocket parks that you guys were contemplating. Uh-oh. This is the master concept plan as it sits today. So you can see in a little bit greater detail surrounding uses adjacent to this and how those interact.
but I'm not seeing a roundabout at the Lake County.
There is one. It's just small.
Yeah, you can see it. It's that circle.
Lake County School Board and Sullivan Road
I can't-
by the dry pond.
That's a roundabout?
That's a roundabout, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, I see the green thing in the middle.
Yeah,
I've lost my
Circle.
Thank you.
clicker.
That's fine, thank you.
Oh, we're catching up. No,
Can we go back for 1 second to that pocket? I know we're jumping around a little bit.
I'm not in control. I don't,
Oh, okay.
the clicker's not working here. Or maybe it's just trying to catch up. Hold on. All right, we'll see if it stays there. Councilman Hernandez.
So these pocket parks are gonna be just, passive, no equipment on there? Or do you expect to
They
have
may
some?
have equipment on them.
Okay.
It's.
Tot lots or
Yeah,
something.
tot lot, maybe it's just a dog park internal to the community.
Okay.
But to your point as well, as you can see in the very top right of that image, you're on a front-loaded lot, but you're a side yard, and within the right-of-way, we have the ability to cut in on-street parking there to provide relief for those residents.
Yeah, that's
that I
perfect.
think is important
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the communities anymore.
Either way, I think, even on those side lots, you're having people park there either way, so why not
Right.
give them the ability?
Why not give the fire truck more access?
Yeah. Okay, I'm good, thanks.
Let me see if, okay, so we're back. So this is our pedestrian trail, how everything connects to Minneola Ridge to the north. Obviously, a 12-foot trail coming down Scrub J all the way south into Founders. And then secondary trail systems shown in orange that kind of permeate the network of the communities there in the surrounding developments. Again, as indicated to you, 70-foot wide right-of-way on Scrub J. And I think this was part of the mayor's question, what the streets would look like. So these are the cross sections. I would say that Sullivan is subject to final design, right, and negotiation with the governing entity. Hopefully that's county. But at worst case scenario, that 50-foot right-of-way on your right would be the minimum for Sullivan. Oh, there's more of your side lot parking. Give me 1 second, I'll get you guys to the renderings. So this is Sullivan looking west towards the school board road there. So that's the roundabout there at the school board site. And then this is the commercial tract on the southeast corner of the intersection of Scrub J and Sullivan, looking northwest. So just a couple of perspectives to show you, an idea of the build out there.
The commercial, is it planned to have, I guess, I know the answer to this, but one main tenant, or is it gonna be broken up into multiple tenants within that building?
I don't know the answer to that at this time.
That's why I said that.
Right now for the commercial, it's an FAR with site development standards associated with that, setbacks, height criteria, impervious area, things like that.
Can we open up the audience at this time?
Yeah,
Do you want
I would just ask the right to answer
Yeah.
any questions or come back up.
Sure.
Are there more slides beside this, Matt? You want to just run through it really quick?
Yeah,
For the audience?
I can do that. Just to get full context again, I'll try to be as quick as possible. My clicker will work with me. There we go. All right, so here at the beginning, this is a historical for the surrounding area. As you can kind of see on the map on the right, one thing missing obviously is Minneola Ridge down at the bottom. But that's kind of the historical development of the surrounding regional area in your great city. This was our summary, but I was happy to run through Eric's and agree to what I agreed to on record. This is, again, the PUD master plan consistent with what Mr. Rash showed you guys earlier. And these are our PUD development standards. These are also consistent with the first iteration that you voted transmittal on, making note that the minimum lot width for single-family attached was updated to 20 feet to be consistent with Minneola Ridge. And then these are the development design standards. Again, no changes are proposed with these, so this is the meat and potatoes of what we're asking you to approve, really. No changes from the prior iteration, and staff had no changes to these as well in their latest iteration. And then for the non-residential, the same thing. No changes from prior, and again, no changes on staff's recommendations either. This was a grading exhibit that we were requested to do. You know, I did the best I could. We did have an engineer do preliminary grading on site, but it was only one iteration. Those things are often fine-tuned and honed during the site plan process. There's a good chance I can even pull back a little bit from this, but I just didn't want to present something to this body that would be short-sighted and not what could be, you know, the truth. So this to me is a little bit of a worst-case scenario. I think we're going to have opportunity and try to at least cut back from this during the development phase, but just wanted to make sure you guys had full optics on what we think right now is going to be a worst-case scenario when it comes to grading.
I have a question. How balanced is this site, do you think?
So this site right now is actually a challenge to balance, hence all the walls, where we're actually pulling in dirt from Sugarloaf to balance this site.
The question I'm asking is this truck traffic. If you're having to bring something in or take it off, then truck traffic, and I guess we'd talk about that at a later date.
Yeah, we can come up with a route for that. We're happy to work with the
If you're
city.
coming from Sugarloaf, then it's pretty much 561.
Yep,
down
straight
over-
down Scrub J across the Turnpike Bridge.
And then just kill that road even more.
Well, we're gonna redevelop that road anyways. as
Yeah,
part of
I'm
the
just
area.
saying that it's just, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prevent trucks coming down Sullivan Road, up and down Sullivan Road and killing Sullivan
Oh,
Road.
no, yeah, we're happy to agree that we can direct.
Okay, well, that's a later
Trucks.
discussion,
Yeah,
later
yeah.
day. I just had a question on it, thank you.
We know there was concerns about ribs adjacent to residential, so we created this side. Just want to take a brief moment to acknowledge your Public Works Department. We went out unbeknownst to them on our own accord and had a certified tester do 4 points of contact along Sullivan and Scrub J for odor detection. And they also are certified through the state to do odor detection and methane detection for all the landfills in the state. So their equipment is calibrated, and I'm going to provide that report to Mark just for his context. But On 4 separate occasions, they didn't pick up any odors within the right-of-way of Sullivan or Scrub Jay coming from the wastewater treatment facility. So we're happy to provide that and compliment your Public Works Department on the exceptional job they're doing. Again, this was the Pocket Park, talking about on-street parking. We kind of covered that. This is a depiction of Pocket Park parking as well as side yard parking. So if I hear you correctly, it sounds like we're in favor of side yard on street, but not pocket parking. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can move forward with pocket parkers already in there. This visual gives me a better understanding of what it's gonna look like, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking I was with you, picturing a parking lot and people
Right,
just.
yeah, I'm good with this, so we can move forward.
Okay. Again, historical base map. I think you guys saw me move through this quickly, just kind of showed development of the surrounding regional network. Obviously, everyone here is well aware of that, to what the ultimate build out of the region could look like. Sorry we didn't get the Scorman Commerce Park in there, but you guys are well aware of what's going on around Camp Lake there too. And then here are your renderings, again, depicting the roadways and just a general feel for what the area will look like. It'll complement the renderings in Minneola Ridge and pull together a good picture for the fabric of the community. And that's the end of our presentation. If you would like to open it up to public.
Anybody in the public want to speak on this at this time?
Sorry.
Colin Sterling, 18131 Seminole Trail, just west of this proposed development. I just want to start by saying, with all due respect to the council and the mayor, as a citizen, the feeling I get sitting here in the audience is that you all are trying to do everything possible to get this approved and not necessarily focus on what the citizens and those who live directly in this area and will experience on a day-to-day basis desire and want. It may be an unfair statement, but I'm just letting you know how I personally feel. Sullivan Road traffic is terrible already. Anytime there's a shutdown on the turnpike, Google Maps and Apple Maps route almost everybody down Sullivan Road so that they miss the stoplight at 27 and Citrus Grove. I've got an idea, a little bit crazy, I get them from time to time. Let's talk to the engineers at Apple Maps and Google Maps and figure out what deters their algorithm from sending people down certain roads. And let's make the road that way so that we don't get all that traffic. The traffic is only going to increase with the live local apartments that are already being built on 27 and Sullivan. And I don't know if that's been taken into consideration in the traffic plans, but it certainly should be if it hasn't already. A 2-lane road is not going to be sufficient. If we could go back, maybe I can do it. Can we go to this picture? I'd invite everyone here to drive down Sullivan Road and see where this proposed roundabout is going to be. It looks nothing like this. That is the flattest piece of road I've ever seen in this area. There's nothing in the area that looks like that. It's a pretty picture, but that's not what it looks like. And the sun glaring off those asphalt shingles for the sunset, marvelous. We started out this meeting by talking about the speed bumps and radar signs that had to be added to the community. I think it's Oak Valley. What do you think's going to be coming here in 5 years? The same thing. We've got to take care of it now. If this is going to happen and it feels like there's no way around it, feels like this is a foregone conclusion. A couple meetings ago, what I heard was, I may be wrong, when I invited you to dust your plan off and bring it back, to me that sounded like it was a foregone conclusion it was going to happen. So if that's the case, let's really set things up so that we have a good situation in the future. The scope creep and de-scope of tunnels on Hancock, same point. At some point, we approved it, we said, hey, we're gonna have these tunnels, that's gonna be great for the pedestrians. And look, that's not gonna happen now. So let's make sure we do this right. Let's get all the information, let's pause, let's tap the brakes, and let's get a little bit further in this before we approve a site plan that you all haven't fully had a chance to peruse. The first meeting when this came in January to P&Z, the 100+ pages got dumped on P&Z the weekend before a holiday before the meeting. And then city council was the next night. Just another data point where we've been rushed to try and get this through. At that meeting, we said, hey, let's send it to the state so we can get their feedback. Doesn't mean we got to approve it, but let's just send it there to get it there. Now I'm hearing, well, we've already told the state this is what it's going to look like. So we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves and going back and forth here. I think we need to nip this trend in the bud of approving things kind of under the gun and being forced to do it quickly. I don't think we have to approve everything that's been transmitted. Again, at that meeting, it was stated, we just got to get it there so they can provide comments. Doesn't mean we have to stick to it. I would like to see the plan, the grading plan. I don't know which way the grading plan was. What if we did the grading plan with our 6-foot walls that are already part of our city planning? What does that look like? Can we see that? What does that do? What does that hurt? Sure, maybe they can put less houses in, but then we don't have a bunch of ugly block walls. Maybe that's a better solution. And just because we approved deviations at Minneola Ridge doesn't mean we're required to do them now. Think about who lived around Minneola Ridge. No one. It was empty land. There weren't residents coming and showing up at the meetings probably because nobody lived around it. Nobody cared. We care. The floodplain, the only thing that's going to be in the floodplain, sir, is this green area that they've so kindly offered to offer the city. Okay? That's it. That's in the floodplain. That's in the lake. It was also called unusable land earlier. In the P&Z meeting earlier in January, the recommendation was that 10% of the proposed development be dedicated as conservation land. Not green space, not a right-of-way for power lines, dedicated conservation space. I'd like to see that. That would be wonderful to have that. That's why we came to this area, for the nature. Parking on the street, I don't know what this all means about one side or both sides, but what I do know is when I go to those communities off of Grassy Lake on a busy weekend, or heaven forbid, Halloween, it's treacherous. You can't even drive up and down the road. It is flat out dangerous. And heaven forbid there be a fire, there would be no fire truck getting in there. So let's make these roads wide enough for cars to park on both sides, because that's the reality of the world. People don't have room in their garages. All their junk's in their garage. They don't park in their driveway. They park on the road. They need to park on both sides of the road. Let's ensure that the roads are wide enough to park on both sides and have cars drive back and forth and pass each other. It's just a safer way of doing it. I know it's going to cut into the profits of the developers, but let's do it the right way for the citizens. At the last meeting, we heard testimony that we didn't see any, or we didn't count any scrub jays. I'm very curious if that survey was conducted before or after the bush hogging of the land. If you're not familiar with what a bush hog does, it basically just mows everything over, okay? And that's happened multiple times since this landowner has had the land, okay? So what else happens? They run right over the gopher tortoises. They don't pay attention. They don't swerve around them. They just mow right over it. And what happens to the mound? It gets pushed into the burrow. And then what happens? I don't know. I'm not a professional, but I'm just saying. If that's what happens to the gopher tortoise burrows when they bush hog, I'm just curious what happened to the scrub jays that might have been there. Odor detection, I appreciate that we sent out specialists and they're highly trained and highly qualified and that it went out 4 times. But I'm at my house all the time, and I've smelled it at my house, okay? The residents in the area are going to smell it. We need to just do more than just warn them that, hey, it might smell. I don't want cell towers and billboards anywhere near where I live, whether they're lighted or not. And again, this wonderful city logo that we have behind us, it's beautiful. But where is that? That's not even going to exist anymore if we keep approving these massive developments and approving all of the deviations. So in honor of our 100th birthday next year and our celebration, I'm happy to commission an artist to make a new logo that more accurately displays the sea of stucco and asphalt shingles that we are becoming. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Frankenfield,
Good evening.
and I live at 18146 Victorian Drive, Claremont. I have been here. We moved here in 2004. I have been coming to Lake County council meetings and Minneola council meetings since then. I have a lot of letters that I've written to you guys and mailed to you guys. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say you, because I'm reading some stuff that was written way back in 2006, 2016. I don't mean you individually, I mean you as a group, the council, the Congress, whoever. So don't take it personally. Okay, at any rate, my husband and I are really concerned about the newly proposed Shepherd's Landing thing. Now, we thought the Minneola Council's mission was to ensure Minneola stays a beautiful city, not only to live in, but to work and play in. In recent years, the City Council has been making concerted efforts to not rezone and approve more development. Thank you. We're concerned about this Shepherd's Landing effect on the environment. The Lake Wales Ridge supports a wide diversity of endangered and threatened species. 23 listed plants, 4 listed animals, and more than 40 endemic invertebrates, one of which is the sand skink. Oh, God, they're cute. Beautifully colored, as well as prime examples of imperiled ecosystems, including the Florida scrub, of which this development is going to destroy the whole top of that ridge, which is Florida scrub, as well as sandhills. No one really knows the impact on the environment that will be created by huge amounts of development that's already been approved. This massive increase of land usage has very little benefit to the city. Please ask yourself, why should you approve it? We're concerned about the mid-Florida aquifer. It's replenished by rainfalls soaking into the ground. Having 80% of a property covered in hardscape isn't good for water conservation. It's bad. Water will run off, therefore not soak into the ground and help replenish the aquifer. Where is the runoff going? It's going to go downhill into retention ponds. They're going to fill up, and then a flood is going to occur. Just ask the people in Mount Dora about that. Oh, but that only happens once every 100 years. Oh, they've had 100-year floods twice now in the last 10 years. Interesting. We're concerned about additional traffic caused by the apartments and commercial buildings. Scrub J and Sullivan Road can't handle any more traffic. Okay, now we're going to look at that again. I don't want to go back to looking at it. It made me sick to look at it because it doesn't look anything like that. Those two roads are merely paved over Grove roads. And I don't know if you know that, but any patches that are made don't even last a month before the road continues to crumble. Anyway, Sullivan Road itself, on that thing, I lost my place. Oh, back to the apartment that this gentleman was talking about, the 700 apartment unit on 27 and the however many townhomes. It's just being developed now, and we were told that they would not use Sullivan Road for any of the construction. Well, if you go down 27, north on 27, and you see, on certain days, you can see the road where the trucks and the cars and everything coming out of the, you're shaking your head, you've seen it. Okay. Look at the white marks in the road from the tires. Where do they go? All right, the majority of them go and turn left and make a U-turn and head south on 27. Where do the rest of them go? They turn right down Sullivan Road. You don't believe me? Go look at the marks on the road, it's there. Okay. I'm still concerned about not being able to see actual real plans. And I know that I'm not a developer and I'm not a lawyer and I'm merely a retired school teacher. But this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I don't think it does to you either. Not all of you, some of you maybe it does. And somebody said something about, well, I'm not really sure what it said and you got reports late. And it kind of reminded me a little of Nancy Pelosi saying, well, vote for it and we'll find out what's in it later. Really? How did that work out? Okay. Another letter I wrote in 2016. It says, we were recently notified that there's going to be a hearing in Minneola on December 6, 2016. This was the development of 94.89 acres at the intersection of Sullivan Road and Scrubjay. That's the same property. Oh, except they added another 100 acres to it. Okay, this land is now zoned rural. I think it's still zoned rural, isn't it? Do you all know what it's zoned right now? Anybody?
That would be the point of it's coming into the city. It is zoned rural, but they were wanting to come into the city and change the zoning.
Yeah, well, see, like I said, I've been going to these commission meetings, the Lake County Commission, and they didn't want to, people went to them and wanted to rezone all that, and they said no. And so I think that's why all the developers are coming to the cities. The county won't rezone the property, so they go to the cities because they know you guys, they can get you guys to do it. At least that, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I know, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Okay, so the land was, at that point, was zoned rural. In 2025, were any of you around in 2006 when Orlando set up the 2025 project? Okay, or the whole Orlando consortium, people in the whole Orlando area got together and decided what land needed to be made rural to protect the mid-Florida Ridge. And guess what one of those pieces of land was? What we're talking about. The mid-Florida Ridge. And here we are, trying to develop it again. Again, the developer's trying to do an end run around the lake. Okay, we chose to move here because of the rural nature of the land. I grew up outside D.C. I was born in '46. Yes, I'm a boomer. We got tired of the urban sprawl and moved here. Well, here it is. It's just chasing us down here. We enjoyed the night skies. When I moved here, I could see the Milky Way. It was beautiful. Now I'm lucky if I can see the Big Dipper and Orion. Oh, I can see Orion. I can see his 2 hands, his 2 feet, and the belt. That's all you can see of Orion. So if you do it, please do something to stop polluting the skies. Okay, again, endangered species. tortoises, the gopher tortoises, and that gentleman was right about plowing them over. You plow them over, you know what happens to them? They die in their holes. They can't get back out because they've been packed down. Just this spring, once the work for the overflow for the apartments, I live across from where the apartments and the townhomes are going to be, off of Sullivan Road. Once they started building that retention pond, we found a gopher tortoise dead in the road. They said there weren't any. Yeah, there are. They're there. The lady that lives on the corner has 3 of them living in her yard. They are there. You plow them over, you don't see them. We also have a pair of breeding sandhill cranes. We've had them for years. They come, they stay, they live around us. They live in the lake, in Shepherd Lake. And every year they have 2 babies. Sometimes both babies make it. Sometimes only one baby makes it. This year, neither baby made it. They were found dead on Sullivan Road. I am not kidding. What are you going to do? Stop developing, please. We believe that the traffic development generated on Sullivan Road, at one point they estimated 2,000 trips per day, and that was for that 94.89 acres. So 2,700 extra trips per day on Sullivan Road. So if we're adding in the 700 apartment units and the 168 townhome units, plus all that up there, what's going on Sullivan Road? That road is not big enough. You saw that beautiful thing where we looked down that beautiful thing. The road isn't wide enough to do that, not without using eminent domain. Do you all want to do that? I don't know. It wouldn't bother. I mean, it's not my home you're going to take, but it's somebody else's. What if it were your home? Would you want it? I don't think so. So please, think about these things. There are a lot of people that live in this area and moved to this area to get away from what developers want to do. We don't want to go back to it. Please think about us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak?
Hi, Joseph Bombardo. I'm right off Sullivan. I live on 18139 Victorian Drive. The cul-de-sac down there right off 27. I want to say that I've been a truck driver for 42 years. And when I hear things about trucks, it drives me crazy because I've got probably 3 to 4 million safe driving miles in my lifetime. And I constantly am battling, we call them four-wheelers. Now the biggest problem we've got is these darn roundabouts. How do I get around them without running over the curb? Or if there's 2 lanes, these roundabouts, these cars think I'm in my lane, I got the right of way. I need both of them to get around the roundabout. They do not make them big enough for trucks. I know you're trying to get the trucks out of the city. When that turnpike's closed, and I come down it every morning because I go to work at 11 o'clock at night, I got to get off, and sometimes I got to go down Citrus Grove or whatever it is to try to get around all the traffic. It's a lot better now since they opened the lanes. But every time I turn around and I got a semi and I try to get somewhere, they put another roundabout in. And us truckers can't get in because the cars are flying through these roundabouts so fast you can't even try to get out without, because they got the right of way because he made it in before you, even though you were there first because they're faster. But I'll get off that tangent. The only other problem I had is this building these houses is there's no infrastructure here. I come home from work 12, 14 hours a day driving on the highway. My wife wants to go do something. I won't leave the house because of the traffic on these roads now. I won't go anywhere. She gets upset with me. I'm like, I can't do it These people are cutting you off. They're all from New York or wherever they're from. They learn to drive those bad habits up there. And if they got room, they're taking that, cutting you off. They don't care. The cops do nothing in this town. They drive without their lights on. And we keep building and you keep approving and keep approving. All this acreage and all this stuff on Sullivan Road, these trees were put in so that they could get a tax exemption for agricultural use. They're not able to be harvested yet. And you want to let these people tear all these trees down that can't be harvested because they're not to the growth they should be at to make something with them. So why are they getting the benefit of not paying taxes, and then they're going to go sell that property, make a bunch of money to the builders that want to put 0 lot lines and houses touching roofs, so, and make money, and they never pay the goddamn Minneola 1 penny because they get all their tax exempt for agricultural use, and then the trees never even got harvested. They just, what they do with them, I don't know when they're not grown to full, but I've been seeing them taking them out already. And those were probably planted 10 years ago? I'm not sure. I've been here 23 years. My wife's been here pretty much all of her life. I came to Claremont complaining that there was nothing here. I don't like it. I can't go eat. It was the rusty fox, pretty much it. And my wife said, well, they're building. Well, now I got what I asked for. I got a restaurant, but now I can't get in one anyway. So I think we need infrastructure. We make these streets wider for these houses. The houses can't be so darn close together. The developers want to put them all touching each other because it's money in their pockets. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And that's just pretty much what I got to say about that. Just wanted to put my 2 words in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Carol Bombardo, 18139 Victorian
Can you
Drive.
push the,
Sorry, I'm short.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you.
Okay. Carol Bombardo, 18139 Victorian Drive. We live right off of Sullivan. So when they talked about fire trucks and ambulances, it's what I do. Anybody else? It's very difficult to get down these narrow roads. And when you have these roads that are small and you got cars that are parked on the side like everybody does because the driveways aren't big enough, they make them short because the property is 0 lot lines and there's not a lot. So it's difficult to get down these roads. Ask anybody that's driving a fire truck. It's challenging. We do it, but it's challenging. It's just too much growth. Sullivan Road is very busy, as they said, which is what we live off of. We are that side street because people have learned to get around that traffic light that gets picked up on 27 and Citrus Grove. And when the turnpike is shut down, well, even if y'all live around there, you see what I'm talking about. So just think about all this development, and there is no infrastructure, and all these people are moving here, and all those apartments that are going in.
thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Kristen Sterling, 18131 Seminole Trail, off of Sullivan as well. And I pretty much want to say kind of the same thing that a lot of people have already said, but just want you to know that there are a lot of voices and a lot of people that aren't here tonight that have talked to me personally that agree that this is kind of a bad idea, that this is a very bad idea. A lot of people have small children and lots of reasons why they can't be here, but they do care, and not everyone that cares can come to these meetings. But please just don't do this. Please, if at the very least, if you have to do something, don't change the zoning on the rural land. So a lot of us that are here tonight or live in the rurally zoned, we have a home with 5 acres. And as far as I understand, that's what the rule is for rural, the zoning. Is that correct? That the lots have to be 5 acres per house? So, and I feel like for the landscape and the character and the existing environment of the area, that works. We have 5 acres. We have gopher tortoises that live on our property that go across Seminole Trail and over into the, this northern section, I guess. They cross back and forth into our property and back over to there. There are all kinds of, birds that are back and forth, all kinds of animals that we see because we're there every day that live there. But we can coexist with them because there is a lot of land and we don't take up that much of the land. We take up a small portion and we leave the rest of it how it is. It's hilly. We have hills in our yard. We have trees. We have, a lot of the existing, I don't know what was there before our house was built and we bought it already built. So all I know is that we have a lot of nature and a lot of things that come in and out of our property that we welcome. Big groups of turkeys run through the area and go into everybody's yards. So if you could leave it like that zoning, they could develop it in some form or fashion, but at least it would coexist with what is there, and it could keep the character and keep the integrity of what that area is, which is special and is beautiful, and it doesn't need to be overcrowded or. All those walls, it just makes me sick to my stomach to think of them just tearing all of that area down and then building a bunch of walls and then putting a bunch of ugly buildings, frankly, I'm sorry, but back to back to back is just a nightmare, honestly, to look at those pictures and think of that being, replacing what is there. So I just beg of you to please pause and just really think about, like everyone else has said, there's so much development going on all around us right now. And honestly, it's just too much all at once. And so I ask you, please just pause and give us all a minute to breathe and see what's happening and then decide what to do moving forward and not just keep approving every little thing that comes to you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, bring it back to council for some direction of what you'd like to do, how you'd like to move forward, please.
Scott, what was the order that we had to do this in again?
The annexation, item 8, and then item 9, the resolution on the DA, and then item 7, the comp plan amendment.
So 897.
I just want to know if Eric and our attorney are comfortable moving this along with the changes that have happened this afternoon and that you haven't had a chance to review. That's my concern.
Well, sorry, that before that, do we want the applicant to come up and maybe address some of the concerns that the public had?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
If you'd like.
Oh, Planner Eric, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Not me.
Planner Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Good evening again, Matt Young, Richland Communities, 555 Winderly. All good comments and questions. I'll try to go through them one by one. And they might be a little bit out of order, but again, in context, when we talk about infrastructure, a big component of that is the ability to provide it and to provide those improvements, not only for public safety, but also for mitigating those traffic jams and the like. A big part of that is going to be the completion of Scrub J in between Minneola Ridge and Founders Ridge to the south. Likewise, Sullivan will be completely improved adjacent to our property limits, and then as it goes out to 27, it'll be improved there as well. So while I recognize the condition of those roadways in the current state.
If you might, because you made a comment, I just want to make sure. So you're improving Scrub J, you're improving Sullivan as it sits in front of your project.
Correct.
And then you made a comment, and it'll be fixed to 27, but that has nothing to do with this. That
No,
is
that's
I just
future
want to,
development,
I just
yeah.
want to clarify, because the way you said it, I just wanted to clarify that, not set expectations that you're fixing what's
No.
in front of your project.
Just in front of our project.
Thank you.
And then this project is what links the Scrub J improvements between Minneola Ridge and Founders all the way out to Citrus Grove. So while the roads, and I agree, they're in poor shape right now, we're not just going to be filling potholes as development progresses. We're going to be basically ripping it up to subbase and providing a complete new urban cross-section, new complete street with this development. The second thing as it relates to, I believe the gentleman said we were dedicating the area in green in the flood zone. That's not the area we're dedicating. We're dedicating the area in purple, which is way upstream of the flood zone, hence why it works so well as a RIB facility for the wastewater treatment plant. Secondly, when it comes to scrub jay habitat, we've had this discussion. We have U.S. Fish and Wildlife concurrence with our study. They've come out and reviewed. There are no scrub jays in the area, and that was prior to us bush hogging, because I believe if Mark remembers, this was a few years ago when we did this, when we were working with the city to help plan the design of the expansion of the wastewater treatment facility. There was one other comment that I'm struggling to recall right now, but I'll stop right there, and if there's any follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, there was one that they had mentioned, the parking on both sides of the roads and widening the roads in the development.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So to clarify, what we are proposing to do is provide an additional parking lane outside of your travel lanes. So your travel lane widths on your residential subdivisions right now are 12 feet wide each, go in each direction. And we're providing on-street parking outside of that. So no part of the car will be within either of those 12 feet, theoretically, where that on-street parking is provided. And if it is, then they can be ticketed. You know, it's similar to the on-street parking that was approved at Founders, creating that, you know, buffer for walkability as well, and pedestrian safety.
Anything else, Vice Mayor? Anything else, Vice Mayor?
I'm thinking, I have a lot of notes written down here, and the two that actually the three that really just pop out to me was infrastructure, the roads, that is widening the roads on the within the development, and just to pause. That's really just, I know you don't want to hear that, but for whatever it is, she got me with that word pause. So that's where I stand. Thank you.
Once everybody's addressed, I'll come back to me, please.
Well, if I could real quick,
Go ahead.
just to your point, we are providing for wider roads via that wider pavement section for the on-street parking. And then two, when it comes to infrastructure, not only are we providing complete streets for the major and minor collectors that are necessary for the regional transportation network, but we're also, this project also provides for the opportunity to help the city with its wastewater treatment plant facility expansion. So we are forward-looking into those infrastructure projects, and I hope we've demonstrated to the city that we have a track record of actually completing those.
Okay, but going back to your, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody off, but I'm going to answer him. Going back to those photos, if I don't know who has the clicker, who can manage these, but when you're showing the roads and the development and the on-street parking. On-street parking, and I'm not even talking here. I mean, yeah, this looks great. It looks wonderful.
What you see right, and it might be shaded by, you know, some planner got crafty with a little shade tree here, but what you see in that underlying shading is a curb cut where it actually cuts in and then widens the pavement section through that. So you don't, you're not utilizing any of the 12-foot lane or 24 feet for the full travel lane width.
Just another picture that illustrates that a little better. The other
The
one.
next picture, please.
All right, let me see if I can,
It's the one that had the two.
there we go. Yeah, you can see in that bottom right, you see the carving, the cut in on the curb line.
Right.
So that is outside of the traditional 24-foot wide travel lane. That is in addition to.
So that would eliminate the problem that they had at the reserve and.
Well, and that's my concern, because of the fact that one-sided parking is just not gonna fly.
Well, I mean, my neighborhood, Pam, is one-sided parking, and it was a little bit of a bumpy road in the beginning, but for the most part, I would say 99% of the time, they do park on one side. So it does work, yeah.
Wow.
Now, we had to have the city really be involved with code management or with the code. They would be in there every morning and make people aware, but 4 years later, it works pretty well.
Thank you.
Anything else, Pam?
No, thank you.
You know, to your point, Pam, a lot of people here, they said, pause, and, people said things about, keeping it rural. And 10 years ago in 2016, I would agree that that was the way that the county was moving forward. However, if you look at how the county is moving now, they are not as open to keep things rural, except for maybe one or two commissioners on the board. Nothing bad to say about the county commissioner, but it's just a different way of thinking. One of the bigger concerns, I think, us as a city, where we have to understand is, for whatever reason, all this gets paused, it gets denied, et cetera, more than likely, the applicant will go to the county and try to lobby them to try to get it done. Once that happens, then we, as a city, have very little, or actually no control of what happens in that area. Density can go up, infrastructure can get lower, and now we're gonna have a donut in the middle scenario where we have to look at this as a county, where we're not gonna be happy, the residents aren't gonna be happy. Sure, they'll be happy in the short term, but it will eventually go, it'll get developed, as all of Florida is unfortunately getting to be that way. So do we want to have control? Do we want to be able to have our say in order to make this, may not be ideal, may not be perfect, but it is something where we have a little bit more control over? That's always something that we as a council always have to consider. Either developers, whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent, they're gonna find a way to make it work, whether they circumnavigate the process through us and go straight to county, or they work with us and make it happen. So, again, I know that's not what a lot of the residents want to hear, and it'll be a short-term win if we don't approve this, but I guarantee that this will be developed one way or the other, with or without the city.
And I understand that. I think there are a lot of different developments that are going on right now that we've taken that control over it to make sure that it is, at the end of the day, something pleasing for, if not everyone, majority. So yes, I do believe in that, but, I can't discredit the things that people say and what they, as far as when them coming forward, and that is why I take the notes and I do speak and I do let them know I hear you, but at the end of the day, I am fully aware of, if we don't have some control over it, it could be 10 times worse.
Correct.
And thank you for letting the audience know and everybody else know that, because there are times that the residents, not only just the residents, but the people outside of Minneola, like the residents as well, excuse me, but you know what
County
I'm
residents.
saying. Yes, county residents, they're not too familiar with that. And I think educating everyone as a whole, they need to know this.
Right, and just to add, the reason why I say that this council, or I'm sorry, this commission has changed.
Right.
Keep in mind, 3 long-term farms that have been in Lake County, all 3 have tumbled to developers. Just wanted to put that out there. So for yields that say that they will not change, 3 long-term farms have tumbled to developers.
Mr. Saunders?
I don't know. One of the main concerns here is Sullivan Road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a very good road. Kind of like a old country road. But the fact is, that's a county road. It's not a city road. And what essentially we've done is we've worked out with the developer to improve the road along his property. We did that several years ago. We put a moratorium on annexing that property 4 years ago, I think, 4 or 5.
No, I think it was.
6 or 7. It's
I
been
think
a
it was
while.
longer than that, yeah.
Well, as you get older, time passes by a lot faster. But, the main reason for our doing that was because we felt that the area wasn't developed road-wise to handle the traffic in the general area. And primarily, that was Citrus Grove Road, because Citrus Grove Road was dedicated to be, many years ago, over 20 years ago, to be the feeder road to the turnpike. I was on the MPO, the body that plans the roads for this area, way back in the early 20s, I guess, or the mid, somewhere around
2009.
2009 to 10, 12, 13. And back then, the plan was to have Citrus Grove Road built first, and then the development would kind of take care of itself around the area. But unfortunately, it's kind of been a little bit backwards because one of the developments, Founder's Ridge, what was called then Founder's Ridge, didn't get developed. So when that didn't get developed, we were missing a big piece out of Citrus Grove Road, and that's kind of led to where we put the moratorium on to slow things down. We never intended to stop development in Minneola.
Right.
We more or less can't do that. If we start saying, well, we'll have no more development in Minneola, we'll lose that case, believe me. That's not going to happen. So the best thing is Pam is reiterating for the 4th or 5th time, the best thing we can do is to try to get the best developments we can for the city. That doesn't mean they're going to be perfect, that doesn't mean there's not going to be issues later on, but the fact of the matter is, we are not omnipotent in stopping everything that goes on in the city.
That was literally
And believe me, I came here many years ago, and I thought this was going to be a small town, and I got kind of fooled just like everybody else, and I think we've done the best we can with what we do, and every house that gets built pays an impact fee. Mark Johnson and I went to the county several times to convince them to reinstate impact fees for road construction. They thought they were doing the county a favor by taking away the impact fees. We got them, convinced them to put them back on so that they could build roads. And hopefully, they don't build roads in South Lake or North Lake County with the money they collect in South Lake County, which would have peeved us off substantially. And hopefully, they'll consider doing something with Sullivan Road beyond what this developer is going to do to maintain that road and sufficient for the traffic in the area. And again, they get impact fees to do that. So each house contributes to that gain, and we don't have any say about it. So we've done our part by saying you have to improve the roads around your development, and I can't say that it's going to be a 4-lane road or a 2-lane road or the best road, but I think the developer has come forward with, I think, a good plan for these developments, and the infrastructure will pretty much take care of itself beyond that. That's all I can say, and we're gonna get what we're gonna get, unfortunately, at times, but.
Can somebody, Brad, can you go back, can you control the slides from up there? Can you go back to the first slide, please? The introduction slide. Go back to this, to the one, to that one, the timeline,
Historical?
the historical one. This picture here. Does anybody in the audience really know what this picture is? What that picture is what that development was supposed to look like in the 1990s. For those who've been up here historically, this has been approved for a development. There was supposed to be a golf course there. So years and years ago, there was a golf course. So they moved the entrance. So it was supposed to be a turnpike. That's what the original turnpike entrance was supposed to be. It was not supposed to be on Hancock Road. So it kind of got shifted over from times. So this project has been in play since the 1990s. Yes, they came here years ago when they wanted to build this subdivision. And we said, no, we put a pause on it because the infrastructure wasn't in place, as Mr. Saunders alluded to. But we knew it was coming. The sad thing about it is he brought the project forth now, and it has gotten more density than it was originally. I mean, if I had to go back and I look back historically, there's decisions up here that we made based off what, listening to the audience that I regret. If y'all remember, there was a time where those apartments are and the townhomes were, where this room filled up with a lot more people when the Ladd brothers wanted to put in their subdivision there, 1 acre lots, gated at that intersection, and everybody showed up and said, we don't want that. We don't want it. And guess what you have now? You have apartments and you have townhomes. They were 4 houses per acre, not 1. They were, I'm not going to argue what it was, but it was a better project than the apartments. Can we agree on that? Okay, we'll take that one. It was better than what was there. When the project came through originally for this, it was all homes. And we asked them to pause for 5 years to let the infrastructure get in place. And now they're coming back. And there's more houses now than was originally there. If we pause this now, and this council, who has been pretty conservative on the growth here, I would say, turn out, we don't know what the next council is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. The political climate in South Lake County has changed a lot. And the part here, so we could decline it, and then you could come back in 6 months or, just 3 more years, and it could be all apartments. We don't know. You don't know what's going to hold through. You kind of have to pull off the Band-Aid at some point in time and make a decision. I regret not approving this. I regret not approving this 5 years ago.
With the lads.
Not the lads, but this, when this came, when Richland brought this project originally in front of us, 7 years ago when we put the moratorium on.
I gotcha.
So, I mean, because now we've got more, and it was a better project there, but they're gonna have this, and I think it's gonna just evolve around more. What I'm concerned about is exactly what Commissioner Hernandez said, is doing what happens in Wellness Way, where they go to the county approves it, and then we kind of get it pushed down our throat of what we're gonna get, and we have to adhere to their standards, and we have no control over it. So, that's kind of where I am with it. Do I like the project? Probably not, but this.
You know the devil you don't.
Exactly. I was trying to think of the words, but yeah, that would be it. That I do know that this is the last piece of the puzzle of Minneola. So once this price gets approved, it's the last piece of puzzle for Minneola until we have a moratorium on Ferndale, until other people start selling large pieces of land, but there's no other large parcels coming in here.
Well,
Go ahead and clarify.
we have what is called a 180 district. That means that anybody who owns land in our 180 district can annex into the city of Minneola. Our 180 district goes all the way to Astatula. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes,
Very
it is.
close.
All the way. That's a lot of land between us and Astatula. All that property has a right to request annexation into Minneola.
We did get requested, and Mr. Saunders is correct. This is the last piece of contiguous land to Minneola to get annexed in. We were approached by the parcel on 561A and 561 to annex that into Minneola. There's all that property up there, they wanted to come into Minneola. So this council has pretty much stayed strong of making sure that there was a contiguous. There was a vision that this council had. This, for me, I've been here a while, there was a vision and a timing of it to be built out. This is not, I inherited a lot of this. I might not agree with it at first, but I see the vision of my predecessor now and understand it. But this is the last piece of the puzzle, of the pie for the contiguous of Minneola. And I'm scared if we don't move forward on this, that it's going to go to the county and we're going to get something else into it. That's my biggest concern.
We'll get Wellness Way.
Yes. But, so how does council want to move forward on this? That's my question. Do we want to?
Has everybody spoke on council?
Yeah,
Because
I
I
just-
think Debbie was last.
Yeah, Debbie, you said you wanted to go last.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that everybody's spoken, you've heard from the audience, and so Planner Eric and our attorney Scott, do you feel comfortable? After you've heard everybody's comments and things, you haven't had a time to review, and I just want to make sure that you feel comfortable if we move along.
Well, obviously, the agreement needs revisions. I think there's been revisions that have been
Okay.
figured out just as we sit here tonight. So no, as it currently sits, I'm not comfortable and haven't actually read the latest version, so.
Okay,
it would,
thank you.
at a minimum, need to be contingently approved or tabled to a later date.
Contingent on final.
On legal
Okay.
approval.
I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with that. Thank you.
I would, as I said at the very beginning, my preference would be to get all the direction we can. There's actually two other issues I need some direction on. And then make those changes, work with the applicant, and hopefully
Right.
bring back, I hear
What are
this is
they?
the agreement. The two issues, one is on the 10-acre site. At first reading, you all specifically said you wanted to have flexibility on the uses of that 10 acres, that you weren't restricted to just wastewater. The way they've drafted the agreement, it can only be used for the sewer plant expansion.
Is that a
If you
concern?
buy
Is
that,
that
we
a-
had changed it to allow you to use it for other uses, potentially park or conservation areas if you wanted. They've taken that out of the agreement, so we need to work that out.
Can we
The
just-
second issue that goes along with it is the language that they have in the agreement says that if we don't acquire those 10 acres, it reverts back to 4 units per acre. I wasn't clear whether that means another 40 houses or whether that's just already within the 652 units. In other words, were they anticipating being able to build another 40 houses? So we need to clarify those issues. The second, yeah, so that's.
We
that's
have
the
somebody
one.
here that I
Say
think can make
amen.
the decision.
Right, he's right here tonight. That's why I said, while he's here, let's just get that hashed out and then.
Thank you.
The second issue, and he can address it at the same time, is roads are obviously a huge issue. We've talked about that a
Absolutely.
lot. P and Z made a recommendation that we consider the county's comments, that they submitted staff comments. We took those comments and that's where the roundabouts and other things came into the agreement. They took those things out of the agreement. I do understand, though, in fairness, and talking to Matt and Brent, their notion is they understand that there needs to be a road improvement and maintenance agreement that's in place with the county and the city and them before they develop. As long as that, it doesn't say that currently in the agreement, but if we add that in, I think that would be fine.
Don't they have to get their roads approved by the county before they even come here? Because they're
And
county roads.
Yeah, the biggest problem, just stating the obvious, is those county comments said in multiple places, the county, that this needs to become a city road and that the county is not in favor of any kind of development of those roads and no expansion and all this kind of lovely stuff. And so all that needs to be worked out. And we just, as long as that is a contingency, but that needs to be put in the agreement as well, so.
Right, but reading that would make you think that the county does not want to improve them because they don't want to develop, but in reality, they don't want to maintain it.
No, you're right, they don't want the road.
They don't want the road because they don't want to maintain it.
Exactly.
So depending how you read it, you could read it and say.
That's what I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of
no,
vagueness, yeah.
The county doesn't want to develop this area. No, the county just doesn't want to maintain roads.
And they want us to take, for instance, all of Sullivan. The entire Sullivan Road is what they would like us to take, and so.
Right. Well, the reason I say that is, again, I think the audience makes it, I think they think that that the county commission is conservative friendly, but they're not. It's you see them approve time after time. So again, to the mayor's point, to what I said earlier, if this fails, this will go to county and we will not have control of what this is. 100%. I've seen this play in and time out, both in Central and in South Florida.
Mr. Young, can you
Well,
address?
the county would like us to take, in fact, several years ago, they wanted us to take all the roads in the city of Minneola that were county roads. But at that time, they didn't have the road impact fees. We were gonna have to fix all the roads before we even claim that they were ours, because they don't have sidewalks, they don't have a whole bunch of things, striping. So the idea that the county wants us to take over the roads, any road,
It's not new.
is interesting, but then we don't get the impact fees. I don't think I'd ever agree to that. I either get the impact fees for all the homes that are built, and they repair the roads before we take them, or we don't take them. That's my position. It's been my position for 15, 16 years.
Mr. Young.
Yes, sir. Matt Young again. I appreciate the opportunity to come back up. You're hitting the nail on the head as far as it goes with the county roads. Our intention was not to bypass those comments at this time. It's just not the appropriate place to address them. Those are just informational comments from the county. To the mayor's point, we don't get to do any work in a right-of-way that's not private and belongs to us without a roadway agreement in place with that governing body. So whether in the future that's this board or the county, we are going to have to come back and work with them on those design specifics associated with those roadway improvements. So personally, I just thought it was better situated to be consistent with the other PUDs in the area that allow for that language and not be so specific at this point. It was a lot of ink for no need, because at the end of the day, we're gonna have to do that anyways. When it comes to the public facility site, Mr. Gerken is correct. There was a lot of leeway added in to the language there, and the context of that site had always been around dedicating it in support of the public wastewater facility for the city. Again, what I heard tonight was that the city was at 75% plans. They should know pretty quickly, or if they don't know already, the last time I think I talked to someone on staff, they said, yeah, it looks pretty good, we're gonna utilize it. So all things considered, why would we open it up to those other uses?
So do the plans include this website, Mark?
Not at this time. That site will probably be needed for a, future expansion. They're trying to keep everything on our current site for now. But it will have to be expanded again. This won't be the last expansion that it goes through.
So we're gonna need it.
We're going to need more property, yes, sir.
So we're gonna need the 10 acres. That's the question.
Yes.
So that's a given.
So, yeah, so it's a given.
Yeah,
Eventually,
so-
but you may want eventually we'll need it, but you might want flexibility in the meantime on how it's used.
So we'll give you a kiss and a promise that we'll use it for waste treatment, and we'll use it whatever way we want 20, 30 years from now. By then, you'll be gone.
Yeah,
How's that sound like a good deal?
we either need it or we don't. That's just where I'm kind of confused at.
We don't know. We're not
We-
100% ready to commit to whether we need that land or
We've
not.
just spent a ton of money to have a wastewater treatment plant done. We know what the growth of Minneola is. We know what was planned. So I'm not sure where the gray area is on why we don't have a completed plan of this is what it is. But it should be because we're 75%. But 75% says you should probably already laid out what you need.
So this is to accommodate the growth in the next 10 to 15 years, not the next 30 years. And, as the council discussed, we are, likely going to expand over time. And so this one
I'm
will
likely to expand.
expand the boundaries of the city over time.
Right, so if something goes on 561 and 561A, you just need to build another wastewater treatment plant. Like, the wastewater treatment plant we have now looks like it needs to control, if you take this last piece into what's in Minneola, that's what it needs to solve for. Anything outside of this, that is another book of the life of Minneola. We are closing, this would be the last piece, if there was an additional chapter to what Minneola was.
Involves that waste treatment plant.
Right.
Right.
So anything else that goes outside of here, that needs to be another plan at another place or something, because,
We don't know yet, because
Right.
we don't know where we're going to bulge.
right, but at this point in time, we were given a roadmap. When I took over as mayor, we had boundaries set. Basically, I think since those boundaries have been changed, there was one small parcel that got added in. Nothing really majorly changed in our annexations in 18 years. So you knew what the fit was.
And keep in mind, it's not a pure donation. They would get impact fee credits in return. It's not a pure donation.
Basically a purchase, in a sense. What about the 4 unit per acre? Was that anticipated to be additional units, or?
Yeah, that would be additional because right now it's not contemplated as part of the development program. So it'd be an additional 40 units.
So would you need to get a comp plan amendment then?
No, it's included in the language that was transmitted to the state.
That language, okay. So it's an additional 40 units if we don't purchase the property. That's just to be clear, so.
Does that mean we have a right of first refusal?
In a sense, we have 2 years to decide whether or not we're going to acquire the property for wastewater purposes,
But we're
and
not purchasing the property, we're giving them impact fee credits at what value?
at fair market value. That's all, nothing more. That would have to be determined at the time.
Is that fair market value of today's rate, or can we lock into a rate now to gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today?
That's a very good point.
Before the entitlements or after the entitlements?
That's my question. It's like, right now, it's not worth but once it has a possible entitlements of 4 houses per acre, then the value of that land
It's going to be
goes up.
astronomical.
Right, so I think the way it's worded is, should the city not exercise their right, then it reverts to the adjacent land use.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a land use attorney, but
Yeah,
I
but the
think that's how it
question is,
reads.
if we exercise the right, what's the fair market value that we have to pay for? Is it based on it being public facility lands, 10 acres, or how is that valued?
I'm also not a real estate appraiser, so.
I mean, we can lock that in. We can determine a price and say it's going to be valued at X, but,
Or you could just donate it to us, and we can check that off the box and we can move on.
That's true.
Just saying. We're just trying to move the process forward. It's like, wise, just
But we'll address,
He's like, man.
we'll address evaluation at least clarify that.
You can try.
We can clarify it, yeah. That's a good note.
Noted.
Noted.
Okay.
Okay.
But really, if those were the two biggest items for us, those are easy. I know, I don't want to overuse Mr. Gherkin's terminology, but those are easy housekeeping items that we can certainly work through with staff. Should this body agree with those suggestions and want to move it forward, contingent.
So I guess it comes to the question, do we approve this and put it into the attorney's hands? Or do we let them look at it and bring it back and we listen to this again? It's up to council's.
Scott, do we have to go one by one?
You don't have to, but, I mean, frankly, I'd prefer bringing a ready agreement back to you as a group. Frank, I'm not going to approve this myself. If you put it in my hands, all that's gonna end up doing is I'm gonna bring it back to you at a subsequent meeting, say, this is the agreement we've drafted, is this acceptable? So you kind of get to the same point either way. I think it's cleaner to just table it to a meeting, do these changes and bring it back, so.
I'm fine with whatever council was, this is council's wishes. We're a party of five, so whatever the majority wants.
I'll respect those wishes.
I do too, of Scott, yes.
The only other curveball to throw in, I'm not at the next meeting. It would need to be 4 weeks, so I don't know if that's gonna be a crucial thing, but of course.
Oh.
Which is,
I guess you're hitting the pause button then, Scott. So if we gotta come back before you in 4 weeks, we'll come back before you in 4 weeks.
17th.
Could we at least, is it overreaching to just give us any sense from this body at this time that say, you know, should you and staff resolve these issues we've outlined today?
So actually,
Or I guess that would be a conditional approval. We'd
yeah, I was
still
gonna
come
say,
back before you.
so how about we do this? Because we know what's coming Thursday. And we know in 4 weeks what may come. May or may not come. So I would say, I'll make a motion.
Can we just do a special, can we come back and just have a special meeting on this?
No, no,
That's fine.
No.
Just asking.
yeah, no.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to improve.
Approve.
To approve.
Okay.
Item 9 on the condition of legal review should set forth any items be not approved or likened, I don't know, Scott, you have to help me with the legal words, by the
That's why
attorney.
I just think it's
Review.
easier to table it.
Yeah, so that should any items not be approved or heard by the attorney or agreed by the attorney, then those items will be brought back to us to review. So in other words, if everything is good, it moves forward. If something catches his attention, it comes back to us for review. This just allows the can to keep moving forward. If there is a roadblock, then it'll come back for us to reapproval. It's an conditional approval, in other words.
I'm looking to the, I'm,
Me too, Mr.
Well,
Gherkin.
yeah, you'd first have to deal with the other items as well, but, so it'd be a conditional approval. But I'm going to bring it back one way or another, so if that's the point, I would just as soon bring
Table
it
it.
back at the February 17th meeting and do
See, that's
that.
what I'm saying. Do we have to, is it,
Can we, table it
Do
to
we-
the 17th?
do we have to wait 4 weeks?
That's what I'm saying, that if,
Scott to me, you have to
yeah,
Yeah, but oh, go ahead.
again, I'm saying is that if we approve it now and nothing is found in error by Scott,
Right.
Well, yeah,
he's gonna bring it back either way.
gonna make the changes.
Right, so in Scott's terms, he's gonna come back and say, this is housekeeping, this is from Shepherd's Lake, do we want to approve? We're all gonna say yay, and it's gonna move forward. If nothing is found. If there's an issue that's found, as he mentioned, he's gonna bring it back anyway, so when he brings it back, then instead of being a housekeeping item, then it will be an actual discussion item. So we're gonna get to the same spot no matter what, but this just makes makes it more efficient if nothing is wrong is found between the two parties.
Are we trying to get a pre-approved car loan here?
What?
A pre-approved car loan here? We're just kind of going through and
pre-
saying,
oh,
saying
pre-approved.
this is good, but if something happens
The
those 3 days.
alternative to that is that the council gives a consensus
Yeah.
that we will, if in fact all the issues are resolved, we're tentatively going to approve it.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that, Joe.
Prefer a consensus
Yeah.
versus
Just say
a vote.
yes.
You like the word consensus?
Yeah, and
Yes.
I
if I
do.
could real quick, I was really looking, to
that. I think
Eric's
that's what he
point,
was looking
but
for,
it just helps us understand we're moving in the right path with what you've
We
heard
are.
tonight.
We are.
If we went through all those items on record and said, we agree to this, we agree to this, we agree to this, we agree to this, that way it locks in the parameters of no more deviations to the DA outside of those agreements, and it gives us and staff clear direction to clean it up.
Exactly.
I would prefer a consensus over a vote.
I like
How do you
consensus.
take a, how do you want us to take a consensus?
Just go line by line, one by one if you'd like. if
Okay,
it-
Vice Mayor,
What, what?
your consensus on, what do you feel, how do you feel towards this?
But I'm good.
Me too, consensus.
So we're voting on a consensus, it could be a vote. Yes, aye. Yep,
not
100%.
Yeah, just giving a consensus.
You got 5
Okay.
people. That directionally is good with
Consensus of
housekeeping.
council to move forward with these revisions and bring it back to you and
So why,
Everything's
I'm
cleaned
kind of
up.
confused on why it has to be 4 weeks, why it can't be 2.
Right, that's what I
We
wanted
can
to.
do it in 2 weeks. I just won't be here, so if there's any questions in 2 weeks, but Jennifer's
everything
very
is-
But I
familiar
think
with
if
it. And we're
Jennifer,
hoping it's all clean anyway. so-
right,
And if we could then table this for table items 7, 8, and 9 for 2 weeks. Let's just make it 2 weeks. I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
And if it's not clean, we'll table it again.
That's right.
Okay, so can I get it, so we've got this, can I get a consensus?
Yeah,
Can-
so
can I get-
moved.
Can I
Yeah.
get a
Second.
So
motion
moved.
to
Thank
move
you.
this, to table this?
Table items 7, 8, and 9 for 2 weeks until
2
the
weeks.
meeting on,
with our consensus.
with your consensus, on February 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, February 3rd, please.
And everything's
All in
cleaned
favor,
up.
say aye.
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 Okay,
Thank you.
moving on. Okay, item number 10. Okay, the educational avenue, please.
Shall I read the resolution title?
Sure.
Resolution 2026-01, a resolution of the City Council of Minneola, Florida, supporting the designation of Education Avenue in honor of Councilor Joseph Saunders, authorizing the mayor to so act to implement this designation and providing for an effective date.
Anybody in the audience want to speak on this?
Joe's great. All right.
If not, bring it back to council. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
I
I'll
get a
second that.
First and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries 4-1.
I'll put a Post-it note with my name on it in front, Joe. if you want.
And by the way, on this issue, we clarify, we're not talking about renaming
Name it.
Education Avenue
No,
for postal,
no.
but just a commemorative.
Scott, which one's gonna be the most amount of work? Because that's the one I want to do.
No, not doing that.
Okay, so what are we going with?
That's it, we're done. Final public comment? You skipped it last time. No, you skipped it last time.
Final public comment? Bring it back to council.
We got someone?
Coming back. Colin Sterling, 18131 Seminole Trail. It's not lost on me that this is a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? We need the developers to build the infrastructure. I got it. But also, what just happened as soon as you guys made your decision? They hightailed it out of here as fast as they could. They don't care about our community. They care about their pocketbooks. We're the ones that are still going to be here. Isn't there something in between rural and 4 houses per acre? We've got this scare tactic of the county's going to make it worse. No, we're in control. You have the control. You don't have to give it to them. You can compromise. 6-foot walls, yeah, it's going to give them less houses, but it's going to keep it within what our plan already is. Again, the feeling sitting here, yes, you've heard, you've listened, you've relayed some of our comments, but the feeling is, from me personally, that this was a foregone conclusion. You've already made the deals behind closed doors, and we're moving forward. And that's disappointing.
Thank you for your comments.
Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. When I came up here in the beginning and talked about CSHB 299, that it was worse than the Live Local Act, and I heard you speak about the Live Local Act, and that's what Eric's talking about. If we didn't approve this, that developer just goes back to the county, and the county will tell us what we have to do. We have no control over that. It happened in a couple other developments here and elsewhere outside of our city. Wellness Way is the biggest example of the problem that the county caused. And in addition to that, now HB 299 is going to give it to the state. The county and the city will not have the opportunity. So I'm not saying that it wasn't a foregone conclusion, but what I'm saying is I think we're making the right decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other final public comments?
Wellness Way, Leesburg, Tavares. I mean, I could keep going to Cheryl's point.
Yes, sir.
Juan Camacho, 753 Rioja Drive. I hear what the concern was as far as Wellness Way, what's happening in Claremont.
Away from the microphone.
Yes.
It rings too loud.
Too loud?
Yeah, there you go.
That's better.
Okay. So I hear the concern about Wellness Way, Claremont, et cetera. The only thing well, there's two things I want to say. I want to be quick. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. So decisions have to be based on evidence. I'm sorry I have to put my attorney hat on, but decisions have to be based on evidence. I live behind a potential development of a Publix and liquor store and gas station, as you all know. That decision was based upon a what if, a hypothetical, a possibility, a potential of something that may happen in the future. Decisions can't be based on what if or what might or what could or what should. And the second thing I want to say is that none of this can be taken in isolation. We have Walmart potentially, Sam's Club potentially, the Publix behind my house potentially, well, more over the potential part, but Publix, Walmart, Sam's Club, and now potentially Shepherd's Landing. None of that can be taken in isolation. Now, I understand there's context and history to all the decisions that are being made, but if we run this logic forward, it's a slippery slope. We're going to eat up or annex additional land where we're going to use the same approach to say, look, what if, what could happen? That land's going to be developed. More land will be annexed. What if, what could, what should? That land will be developed. And before you know it, people driving on 27, people driving on Hancock will see nothing but buildings, stucco and asphalt, as the gentleman that said before it earlier. If we can't use anything as a guiding post for our decision-making, then look at the logo. I said at the last meeting when we were talking about Shepherd's Landing. Evidence-based decisions, not based upon fear, based upon facts, and not making decisions in isolation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Yeager, 2750 Purple Meadow Court, Minneola, Florida. I remember when this project was put on hold for 7 years, and the mayor said, enough, stop it, and do that. And that was the last key that was contiguous to us to annex. Again, like other things, like gas stations and other things, is if we have control on, we can do different things that the county or other people won't. So we need to do that. And you may never ever heard me, but you know, all this growth, we still gonna need some land. We still have the Monica land down there is 16 acres that we should be talking about 2 years ago. And then we have the land next to my property that should be eminent domain because it's against the turnpike, it's against the power grid, and we keep not paying attention to that at all. And the piece that they wanna give us where we have to buy on this project, we shouldn't have to buy. It should be, just like the mayor said, you should give us the land if you want the approval. End of story. I mean, somebody needs to give and take, and, the developer's fine when they all leave, it's over, but we shouldn't have to purchase that 10 acres. And that 10 acres is really in a low, low spot, so it'll probably be the last thing we'll use for the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant. My last thing is the way I understand, and I could be wrong, Hancock Road for the 4-lane extension is a developer's obligation. Well, I don't think he's motivated enough to be obligated. So can we not stop his COs or any of his building of what is pre-approved already to get his attention? Because Hancock is going to be a mess. When Crooked Can opens up and you have the hospital getting off the turnpike, and now that we're not going to have a underground access, it is going to be a mess, and a lot of things are going to be going on. But we need to somehow get the developer's attention, because I believe he's not motivated, and I think if we stop some of his projects or stop some of his COs, maybe he'll get a little motivated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Bring it back to council. Mark?
Just update, there were some complaints about semis on the park and ride. Code enforcement worked with other entities to get that cleared up. There was one that remained or reappeared saying they needed parts, which they shouldn't be parked there, let alone be working on their truck there.
Where was this at, Mark? I'm sorry?
The park and ride.
Park and ride.
Oh, park and ride.
Are they addressing any on Citrus Grove Road?
Sir?
Are they addressing any of them on Citrus Grove Road?
In front of the Publix?
Yeah,
It gets bad.
They park all up and down Citrus Grove Road
Yeah.
and in front of,
And in the
In
parking
front of
lot.
Grassy Lake.
Yeah, there's a new facility up near the industrial park for semis to parks. There are places, I know statewide, there's a struggle. It's been talked about for several years at the state level, a lack of parking, overnight parking for semis.
can we at least get signs, work with the county to get signs on Citrus Grove Road in front of the instead of Crittenton property, in front of the Santerra property, in front of the Scorman property that says no overnight parking?
Yeah, and do it like they did on education, every 5 feet
Yeah.
for now.
If you don't mind.
So we'll ask the county to do that. The painting of the light poles were rescheduled due to the weather, so we expected to have them done, but they rescheduled them.
Okay.
We already talked about the library flagpole's been ordered. Some more signposts were purchased and I think delivered to install at the library to make it, a couple of them more decorative. The Centennial Celebration planning is ongoing. They're looking at the main event scheduled for December 5th. I want to make sure that date is okay with everyone, to have December 5th as the main day. We need to be able to start advertising it. We sort of left it a tentative time in December last time we met, so.
Mark, the pickleball tournament, how are we going to organize that?
I believe they're looking at 25 teams, something like that. And limited to 25 teams. Staff's working on it. I'm probably going to also ask Ms. Mendoza to help us with it. They're pretty knowledgeable, her and another person, to assist us with kind of planning and organizing that event.
Which courts are we going to use?
Clearbrook's allowed to let us use theirs for free. They just installed some new pickleball courts in the last year or two, and they've allowed us. They're going to allow us to use them.
How many courts do they have? 4? 4 or 40? Okay. Can we ask Del Webb if we could use their facility?
We can certainly ask, yes, sir.
Because for 25 teams and 4 courts, you're going to be there over 12 hours. It's a lot.
Okay, we'll ask.
Do the tournament the right way.
Okay.
And then you needed to think about divisions, ages, then whether mixed, single, so there's a lot. So point being is that you can reach out to the tennis training facility over in Lake Nona. They run tournaments all the time, and then you could see if they want to help out and put it together.
He has it pretty well broken out already. Can we bring it to the next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if council, I mean, I could review it with you, Christine.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with just meeting with them.
Because I don't think they really care, to be honest, but I do, so I could review it with you.
He has it pretty well spelled out already. It was just more of the date we wanted to nail down.
Okay, yeah, we could review it. I just want to make sure that typically when you have tournaments, there's different divisions, you just don't say tournament, because then,
No, and he has brackets already spelled out and everything.
all right, I can review it.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, you can just email it to me when you get it.
But for the pickleball tournament, looking at March 28th, the fishing rodeo, we're pending confirmation on that. We're trying to plan that as part of this event, not something we're going to intend to do every single year.
Sorry, Mark, and for the pickleball, we could participate in a team, like council members?
I think so,
Essentially
yeah.
me, because no one else is going to do it, so I'm asking for myself, yes, in a very selfish way. Okay, cool.
You're not gonna play. Oh, yes, I am.
Okay.
You watch and see now.
Fishing rodeo, May 16th, it's pending confirmation. We're still working out the details. And then movie night, August 15th at Trailhead Park. At the last meeting, y'all asked for sponsorship levels to review. Those are before you. If you would like any changes to the ranges or the names or whatever, please let us know.
Yes, this is great, but can we have, lower amounts for the mom and pop who, want to give like,
Is that the other one that's here? So
Yeah, it
there's
goes
two
down
that
to
I have here.
friends and supporters,
oh, okay, never
$100.
mind.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm about to say, wow, we are really shooting for the stars here, but okay.
Yeah, that's the first thing I
All right,
saw
we're good.
too.
Thank you.
Let me know if in the next day or so, if there's anything, but.
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah, this is good.
Okay. And a reminder that we're having our MS walk, March 14th, around the MAC at 8 a.m., starting at 8 a.m. And that's all I have right now.
Anything for the city manager?
No, I'll leave it to my end reports. Thank you.
Anything for the city manager?
Yes, thank you for giving Lakewood Ridge some TLC on that park.
Nope, thank you, Mark. Oh, did we ever, anything happen with the burn over the weekend with the winds?
Not to my knowledge, there were no calls or problems with it as far as ignitions, secondary ignitions, to my knowledge.
All right, I'll just send my, my bill to Kevin for my car wash, so, thank you.
Scott?
Only thing is, I believe this Thursday is the Walmart, I don't know what it's called exactly, the community meeting. Again, as we have said numerous times, this is not a city meeting. My preference, me being conservative, is that you all don't even attend. So there's no thought that this is a Minneola meeting and/or no sunshine law temptations. Having known you all well enough, I'm sure at least a few of you may still wish to attend. You can't help it because it's something that involves the community. It is legal for you to attend the event as long as you do not discuss either directly or indirectly any item that may potentially come before you as a council. So I guess the notion there is listen more than anything if you do go, and please certainly do not talk to each other, be downright rude to each other, not even talking about football type of things, or no, that's being a little bit over dramatic, but please try to limit that just so the appearance of that. Assuming it moves forward, will come before you soon enough for at public meetings where you can address it at that time. But if you have any questions, holler.
To add on to that, my understanding is it's going to be sort of a charrette. They asked us what the public's concerns were, and they're going to try to have a little table set up for each of those. They're going to have, and of course, their model displays of the newer design based on various input from various members of public and others. And, you know, they're going to have a table for security, a table for traffic, so the public can kind of come and go and ask questions and look at the different tables and talk to their traffic engineer or other people and, you know, find out directly firsthand from them and get their answers directly as well. It's more of a charrette style from my understanding.
So-
Mark, oh,
Sorry, so just to clarify, Scott, your recommendation would be for us not to be here? Is that correct? Because
That's the safest thing, is just that you not attend. This isn't a city function. But it is legal for you to attend, that, as long as you do not communicate amongst each other in any way about the items before you. So if you came, for instance, and it is a charrette, you can go around and look at the tables and those type of things. But what always tends to happen is people are going to come up to you and ask questions and,
Right.
and all of that. And because you're council members, and so that makes it difficult sometimes. You can talk to people about it, but not any of your fellow council members.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Mark, you may or may not know this. I may have to get in touch with Jay, but do you know if South Lake TV is going to be broadcasting it or using their video in here?
That has not been brought up, so I would venture to say they are not planning to have them here.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can ask and find out to be sure.
Thank you.
But you can certainly say our city attorney recommended we not attend if anybody asks why you weren't there. So that would be accurate. But
I think we're all going to show up, Scott.
I know,
just to-
I sensed that. That's why.
We're all going to walk in holding hands.
Anything for the city attorney?
Try.
No, that was all I had for you. Thank
No.
you.
Thank you.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, Scott.
Well, for full disclosure, I did meet with the people of Walmart. I met with them for 4 hours, and
Wow.
I can tell you here, my requirements for a Walmart. I explained to them what I felt they needed to do to have a Walmart in Minneola. And the primary requirement that I laid on them, that it'd be the best Walmart in the whole world, on the planet. And to that end, I told them that I had looked at all the Walmarts around the world, from Belgium to Germany, to China, to Japan, to Boulder, Colorado, et cetera. I looked at over 100 Walmarts. And none of them were as good as the one they need to put in Minneola. I gave them a list of things that would be my requirements, and I'm not going to share that with you because it would take too long. The list was quite long. But I'm expecting them to develop that property, not to just come in and build a Walmart or a Sam's Club and that's it. So that's where I'm coming from. If they can produce what is the best Walmart in the world, then they've got my vote, because I think we need a place to shop. It's getting awful crowded at the one in Claremont, and I suspect that people in the one in Claremont are coming from other places like Leesburg and wherever. Ultimately, their responsibility will be to maintain it in the same level as when it opens. They don't do that with most of their Walmarts. I've seen that in 3 or 4 Walmarts, and this one has to be different. I think from my perspective, I'm going to want that in the agreement. They're going to have to do a developer's agreement, and that agreement's going to have to be that they will maintain their properties. We don't want to have to send code enforcement after them, but if they don't, we will. And there's a whole lot more I told them, but I can't repeat it all. It took 4 hours, so.
And that's funny, because I was going to bring it up as well. In full disclosure, I've had multiple meetings with Bentonville and Walmart as well. And one of the questions I asked them was, are you going to develop the whole area just a Walmart and Sam's Club? The Walmart folks, I asked them, they said, just a Walmart and Sam's Club. We don't know what's coming else. So it's kind of funny, they tell you something totally different, so, kind of interesting.
But they can't define what stores are gonna be there or what the other buildings will be.
Right.
But they can define what the roads are gonna be.
Yeah, that they can, yeah, they can.
As an example, I'll give you an example. The Walmart in Claremont has 5 entrances. If you count them, you'll find them, there's one here, one there, one there, one there, one there.
Right.
They have 5 entrances. The way this piece of property is laid out, the 70 acres, there are 2 entrances. And both entrances are gonna have a roundabout. A roundabout is to quell traffic, to slow down traffic. And they're gonna have 10,000, 15,000 people there a day.
Wasn't one of them a signal? The one by Publix was a signal. Where the Publix goes out, that's a signal.
It isn't yet.
No, they proposed that, the plans that I saw was a signal.
Well, again, they're traffic slowing. Traffic lights slow, I'll say it again, traffic lights slow down traffic, roundabouts slow down traffic. When you're trying to get people in and out of a development that size, I think that's a major restriction. So from my point of view, I'm looking for a lot better ways to get in and out of there. And one of the things I proposed to them, wouldn't it be nice if they had a truck entrance so that tractor trailers can get in and out of that property without coming through the roundabouts, which are a roundabout or 2 roundabouts? And that would mean going back to the state and redoing the turnpike, I know, but two entrances and exits, especially if later on we talk about an apartment building, because there's still a section of that property that's not gonna be under Walmart's control. It's being retained by Sunterra. So I think they need to look at that very carefully. So the point I'm trying to make here is gotta be good, or else they're not gonna be in Minneola.
On that note, I know you all are anxious to talk about it, but let's wait until this comes. But it got to be good. That's a good point, but let's wait until those come forward after Thursday and then come.
At least you said it in a meeting and not in an email.
Yeah,
That's right. This is not a sunshine. This is
So,
a notice
on the
meeting.
agenda, in
Yeah,
other words.
correct, yes. We need to wait until. yeah.
One more question on that.
Yes, sir.
Scott, not the specifics. It's in the event that a council member is not present during the vote and we have a 4-member council, is it majority that has to be voted in order for it to get approved? So 3-1?
Yeah, well, a 2-2 is
a no vote.
Is a no,
Okay,
exactly,
all right.
yeah. So you'd have to have 3.
3-1 is the minimum margin.
But I think the question is, and just ask
That's-
me, I'm just, because I'm gonna abstain, I have to abstain from voting. So then they,
So down, we're down to.
that's fine.
4.
But
Right.
the question is, if a council member does not make it to it, and there's only 3 council members here, is it a 2-1 vote? It
If
passes after, well, so if a council member doesn't show
We
up,
wouldn't have quorum, so it
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
be a
have a,
vote.
yeah.
I wouldn't wanna do that.
it would be 3.
I
But
don't think.
I'm
you
just
would
saying,
be
but technically, you could vote with 3, and then it would be 2-1.
Don't you need quorum more than
Have
3?
to have, well, a quorum with 3 is a quorum.
3 is a
Three
You have to have a
quorum, so
quorum.
you could
You have to have a
actually
quorum
do
for
a
it to pass.
2-1.
You're giving it that technically, but the question is,
Let me look at the,
Well, we have a choice.
yeah.
We have a choice.
We could table it.
We can say, we won't vote.
I'm
on
just saying
this
that you
until we
probably
have
need
4.
to
Right.
plan accordingly.
Plan and make sure we're all
Right.
here for those votes.
Yeah.
yes.
Because otherwise it will be tabled if we don't have 4,
Right.
knowing that 1 is not.
Okay, if that's the rule that you're gonna go with, then
Yes.
that's fine.
Yeah,
But we don't know who that 1 is gonna be.
Right, that's still the question.
all right,
Okay,
all right.
so with that said, where are we at? Pam, what's your?
Okay, super quick. Putting it out there on the record, I received a phone call from Dr. Cassavant. He lives on Lake Shore. He had mentioned to me that he does want to come in front of council. He is proposing taking Lake Shore and making it a 1-lane. And he knows that he would need to have help from the county. But just putting it out there, I did speak with him. I did tell him, yes, come in front of council, speak with us, get a feel of what we're feeling and just take it from there. So I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time. And after that had happened, then I received an email from a Jason Hunt. And Mr. Jason Hunt had mentioned, he lives on Lake Shore as well. And he had mentioned that there's an issue with speeding on Lake Shore, that he requested incident reports and comparing them with education and Lake Shore. The incident reports just for education were 15 and a half sheets long at approximately 55 incidents per sheet, when Lake Shore only had one sheet with 9 incidents on that one sheet. So he is stressing that Lake Shore is an issue and it does need to be addressed with the speeding and the passing. So again, for the record, those are 2 residents on Lake Shore that have issues with the traffic on there. And
By one lane, you mean one way?
one way, I apologize, thank you.
Okay.
That was from Mr. Cassavant, Dr. Cassavant, excuse me. And that's it. So I just wanted to put that out there and let you all know the discussions I've had with them too. And hopefully they'll be able to come in front of council and we can have a discussion on it. Just a heads up. That's it for me. Thank you.
No, I'm good, thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm okay.
I have one thing, just disclosure. I'm meeting with Lowndes Friday at 9 o'clock in front of Highland Oaks, because you're Highland Ridge. Highland Oaks, they're proposing a potential live local apartment complex there in front of Highland Oaks.
Was that the Starbucks debacle?
No, this is down one. This will abut my neighborhood. This will abut Oak Valley. So it's the next one across from Main Street Mowers. That whole area they've proposed apartments, either apartments, live local. It's pretty big. So no connections. You know, they've got some things on there that I guess sitting up here, and historically, and this is kind of what's sad when we all leave, is institutionally we know what's here or not here. But I need somebody to go back and pull, because I believe when I was on council and Mayor Yeager was here, we did approve a development there that had stores underneath it.
That's correct.
And apartments on top.
That's right.
Project.
Yeah, and we need to make sure that that's still, is that still sitting on that property? Because we didn't sunset that one. So we need to understand where that is. And this is just kind of what's going to happen if people don't understand the history of what's gone on in here. Because I think that was like 2008 that got approved. Because I know Greg Bilbero came in and that was one of his projects. So I'm gonna have that discussion with them on Friday, see where they're at, where their mind's at. I did mention to them, knowing that when we talked to Advent about a medical facility, they didn't want cross-connection through their property. These people are showing a cross-connection through the property. There is be a right turn, left turn. There is at the Highland Oaks, there is a road there. So I'm concerned about when they come out, if they don't get a connection to Oak Valley, what the right, the left, the traffic's gonna be there. I don't think anybody's gonna give them another curb cut on 27. So
Yeah.
just telling you that this is coming down the pipe, like I said. And
Mayor,
I'm
just remind me, this is the second Live Local project, and remind me again, regardless of whether it's zoned in Minneola, the state, or the county, we have no jurisdiction or say, and we can't stop that, correct?
If it goes Live Local.
If it goes Live Local,
If it
yes.
goes
Yes.
Live
Yes, okay, all right, just want to confirm that.
Right,
Thank you.
but if they come in the city, then.
Right, but-
so
but-
we gotta
Yeah, but regardless if it's city or county,
figure out.
it doesn't matter, because Live Local, it has to be
Yeah,
pushed through.
so, but on Live Local, our Live Local requires.
Our Live Local is a little bit more stringent in what they have to follow.
Right.
Correct,
And
yes.
so we'll have to figure, so this will be another, as I said, as 27 develops out, this is stuff that we have to stay on top of.
Correct.
There's going to be a lot of meetings. So I'm not sure when, since this will probably not come in on my shift, it will probably come in when the vice mayor is here. I will be happy to meet with them, but in the next couple of months, I'm going to have to start transitioning meetings from me with these new developers over to you.
10-4.
Just to be aware. But I will be happy to take this one just to see what's going on. So it's still in the early discussions. I did see they did have a rough end. It was a lot. It's that whole piece of property. But it does ask the question that it is, when I looked, it is zoned ag. I don't see a lot of ag working on there, and the new property appraiser is looking at some of the ag exemption properties. So I'll be interested to talk to them about what they're doing actively to maintain their ag exemption on that. Because I know they've pulled ag exemption on a bunch of properties recently. So that's it. With that said, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.